which are not acceptable. What else? We thought about parts, techniques of effective beginning, like actual event or joke or story or date or quote and so on. Actually, all these forms can be used for effective beginning of your presentation. Talking about structure of your presentation, we can say that it's a really good idea to have at least 3 different parts of your performance, of your presentation. First part is just intro. Here you should actually talk about the topic, about the context of your presentation. Of course, main part and kind of outro, finalizing, where you can summarize and also go to more softer topic to make yourself a little bit more memorable and so on. For today I propose you several more deep and more specific topics. By the way, before I can tell you about today's topics, could you please let me know, do you have any kind of questions, clarification, or maybe feedback about first our session we held 2 days ago? We have 6 seconds to unmute yourself and tell something. Great, thank you so much. Today we can put some topics in the optional spot, so we can talk only if you wish to talk about those topics. For example, first topic is eye contact for today. Except eye contact, I would like to propose you to tell about a little bit more specific of online and phone communication, how to make it more effective, and so on. We will discuss a little bit about questions and how to deal with questions, what to do with questions. Of course, we can touch the topic of objections and handling objections. This topic goes exactly from sales, tier of sales. Enforcing of your message, of your main idea, of your presentation. The trolling, we can touch it, I think, also mostly optionally, because the trolling is about dealing with challenging behavior of your public, dealing with unacceptable behavior that you cannot accept. And usually in your conditions, your typical representatives of your position in EPAM systems, you usually cannot meet such kind of behavior, because we communicate with really polite and tactful people, and usually they do not behave in a challenging way. But if you think it's impossible for you, you are welcome to ask, to note this point, and of course I will be happy to propose you several techniques to deal with trolling and how to do the trolling. And a little bit about persuasion, so how to ensure your customer in any kind of thoughts or ideas you want them to be sure. Before we start, ladies and gentlemen, could you please be so kind to form again, to create, to generate very short main idea of your specific presentation, you are going to hold, I suppose, in a month, in 2 months, in a year. So please think about specific customer you have. Please think about specific person, maybe a person from customer team or person who communicates with you typically. Please think about topic of your job, kind of context, or maybe project you're doing, realizing for that customer, for that specific customer. And could you please imagine yourself that there's kind of magician who can put in the head of customer any short idea, very short idea that is really profitable for you as EPAM employee, as a representative of any kind of project, of any kind of business account, something. So very short idea. You see, it might be an idea like Coca-Cola company have, like drink Coca-Cola. Please generate this idea. Please generate this idea not in general way, but in specific way. In exact specific way with maybe a name of application you have, with maybe a name of team, of EPAM, of company, of project, or any kind of specific, absolutely specific. And could you please generate this very short idea that is really good for situation when you are really sure that you can put this idea in your head, in your mind of customer, you can do it. You can say that, yes, that's it, that's exactly the idea I want to be put to customer's head. And could you please be so kind to type this idea into chat, except case if you have kind of confidential idea or confidential topic. Of course, we don't need confidential topics right now in the chat. So please, if you're not working with confidential projects, with confidential topic, could you please type main, very short idea, very specific one, that's not acceptable for any kind of customer, for all customers, no, but only for your specific customer, any proper person, any proper group of person, and so on. You have 10 seconds to type your main idea of any kind of your personal specific presentation you are going to help. Okay. Pretty good. Thank you, Rina. Thank you, Maxim. Dear colleagues, come on. Wake up. Could you please put your main ideas? You're welcome to put in specific names of company, of teams, or you can close it with kind of stars, with hide specific names. Come on. We have only 2 answers so far. Great. Thank you, Konstantin. Okay. You're welcome to finalize your typing because you really need this message. This main message of your presentation. But now, could you please, everybody, so now we're going to topic of online communications, of phone communications, and so on. Could you please, everybody of you, absolutely really stand up right now, and please a little bit straight yourself. Do some kind of very easy movement of your body with your shoulders. Could you please shake your body a little bit, approximately this way? Could you please find your chin and make a little bit of movement of your chin, like in front, forward and backward, something like this way. Just stretching yourself, like in the morning, like in the bed. It's very typical warm-up of your body. Talking about online communication, talking about online and phone communications, I strongly recommend you to take those communications, to conduct those communications in separate room, closed separated room, and standing position. Please do not sit. While you're standing, you allow your body breathe and be much more movable, much more flexible. And please allow yourself to gesticulate, allow yourself to ensure, allow yourself to play with your emotions. Like, if you're going to say about something surprising, you're welcome to be surprised by that again. If you have found that any kind of special feature of your project goes really well, works in a very good way, you're welcome to be surprised about it. So change your voice, like yeah, it works really well. Especially if English is not your native language. There is a very big science called phonetics. So learn how do all these levels of voice goes. You're welcome again to switch on your audio book and listen, English audio book, and listen how do those actors goes with voice. What else? A little bit with your face and with your mouth. Let me please, oh no, it's an optional topic, so could you please tell me, not in a chat, but just use your voice, do you want to learn a little bit of exercise for facial mobility, how to warm up your facial mobility? If you want it, could you please tell me in the next 3 to 4 seconds? Okay, so this topic is Harry. If you want it personally, you're welcome to ask. We can meet in person. But now, a little bit theory about your phone communication. Make exercises, make warm up for your face. Make warm up for your body. Very challenging issue. How wide I open your mouth, your teeth, I would say. Typical coding person, typical programmers, they open mouth in very small distance, on very small distance. At the same time, TV show news, people, they open their mouth really wide. Like they couldn't say, hello everybody, today we're going to tell about blah 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 blah, I don't know. But they could say, hello everybody, today we are going to tell about, I don't know, about great discovery we had made in our creative team of our project. So that's one of the reasons why the pronunciation is so clear. And that's great problem for a lot of our colleagues. Just open your mouth. You shouldn't open it in a really wide way, but at least 2-3 times wider than in normal life. What else? Warming up of your lips, warming up of your tongue. Sometimes you can find such exercises in YouTube, in Google. Warm it up before your phone call. You can make your mouth, your tongue much more flexible, much more exact and specific in movements. So your pronunciation will be perfect. And you shouldn't think about, oh my God, can this person understand what I'm talking about? So, standing position. Warm up for all your body. Warm up all your face and all your vocal system, paraverbal system. Next point, train your voice all the time. Not only during your phone call, but all the time. And finally, just open your mouth in a wide way to make the pronunciation more understandable, more clear, more present, and so on. What else about phone communication? No matter they have visible phone communication with visual contact or without visual contact, please, while doing that, allow yourself to make gestures. Allow yourself to use your body language. Actually, versus in the opposite to a live presentation, without visual contact, you don't need to create it artificially. So if your body language is small and visible, you're welcome to leave it on the place. So you don't need to train it. But just allow yourself to use it, because your emotions become much more clear, much more true, and it goes into your voice. So stand up, continue to make gestures, continue to ensure no matter do you have visual contact or not. If you have it, if you have visual contact, allow yourself to make very beautiful, very different, maybe even specially developed gestures, hand gestures. Create it. Pay attention, keep your gestures in any special scale, in scale of screen. Because for example, if your gesture can disappear from the screen, like my hand right now, it is kind of not so beautiful for your picture. So please pay attention to let all your hands be present on screen in case if you're gesturing. You're welcome to cross your hands at the beginning if you prefer. You're welcome to cross your hands anytime during your presentation, during your communication. But when you ensure you communicate something, when you want to tell something to your audience, please use your gesture. And if your body language is weak, if your body language is not developed yet, please train it separately and then use it all the time when you have visual contact calls. Dear colleagues, could you please let me know what kind of specification do you want from me, what kind of questions do you have from the point of view of video or without video calls? You're welcome to unmute yourself, tell a question and mute again.
Hi Alexey, it's Elina Karaseva. I wonder if there are any don'ts during online presentation, not to, I don't know, scratch or something like this.
Okay, several don'ts. Thank you so much for your question. First of all, do not allow yourself to be a talking head. So don't put the camera very close to you when camera cuts all your body, your gestures, your hands and so on, because it looks awkward. What else? Don't allow your camera to be somewhere on the side. That's another interesting issue. What is your position of your eye contact during video call? If you look at the picture of your person you communicate with on screen, it's kind of stupid idea, because camera usually somewhere outside, somewhere on the side. So the greatest idea for you is to look exactly at the camera, in the center of camera. In that case, your face on the screen of your person you're communicating with would be the face looking exactly into eyes of person you communicate with. So train yourself to put camera somewhere and to look to the camera all the time. For example, my result is approximately 10% of time I have to look at the screen to understand what person I'm talking to is thinking, what is he or she doing and so on, and 90% to the camera. The best ideal result is 100%. So please look 100% time into the camera, in the center of camera, if it's possible for you. Some people just so you see, we are not in a science fiction movie when we have kind of a picture of our person we communicate to. We can look into eyes and communicate with this person, and this person see ourselves, communicate with them. But some my colleagues even put camera. It's really technical kind of technical cheating. They put camera with scotch tape in the middle of screen. In that case, they can look exactly in the camera, but using peripheral vision, they can check all the body movement or emotions of persons they communicate with, and that's a really great idea. You see, even if you have a laptop and a camera on the top of screen, when you look into the eyes of the person you're talking to, that person see you looking somewhere on the bottom, somewhere lower than the level of camera. And that's it. So, don't look at the screen, look at the camera. Next, don't. Don't be quiet. That's a really big issue for people who came from Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan or Belarus. It's kind of habit for programmers from those countries. If everything is okay, they are quiet. If they have a question, they could answer that question. But for a lot of our Western colleagues, maybe customers, very often Americans, it's very typical. If everything's okay, they just say that it's okay. Because if you're quiet, no one can understand. Maybe you have no connection. Maybe you kind of was unconnected and plugged from the chat. So please, every time, if you just join in this kind of meeting or, I don't know, conference, say something. Hello, I'm Mike from Minsk, nice to see you. Hello, I'm Ibrahim from, I don't know, from Switzerland, nice to see you. Then mute yourself. If someone asks, is it okay, please, especially I'm talking mostly about conference with not such a lot of participants, not more than 10, for example. So typical communication of your team with your customer, when 10 to 20, maybe 5 participants and so on. You're absolutely welcome to unmute, say, yes, it's clear, thank you, and mute again. So don't be quiet, don't keep silence. Please show that you are still alive. talking head, look to camera, don't be quiet, don't keep silence. In general, as far as I remember, that's all. Of course, there are some kind of special ideas, like if you have camera with rather wide screen, you're welcome. But I'm not talking about, now I have a 3D screen, and the screen, you say, I can go to some direction, and the screen check the direction of my voice and switch the camera. But if you have just typical camera, you're welcome to mark like left border of the territory when the camera sees you, somewhere here approximately. So now, camera, come on, camera, come on. Oh, yeah, that's it. Oh, oh yes, you cannot see me. Camera. Interesting. Sometimes, oh my God, it hangs. So the idea is to mark for yourself territory when you are absolutely visible. If you say about the screen you are seeing right now, see, you can see my hand, now you cannot, it's prohibited. So only this territory is allowed for you to move your body. And here it's enough space. Don't allow yourself to disappear from the screen. It's horrible mistake. Do not ever disappear. Keep yourself in a screen. Actually, it's a really good idea to stand and to walk when you make a presentation with visual contacts, no matter a live presentation or video conference or online conference with video stream. So please keep yourself on screen. And without any clarification, generally that's all. Is it okay for you? Thank you for your question.
Yeah, thank you. It's useful.
Great. Dear colleagues, do you have any additional questions about this topic of communications? Online, offline? Actually, there are a lot of advice. You can find it in web. You can just Google it, like choose a good time, tell everybody, put kind of picture with how much time till the start of conference is left and so on. So it's very typical, and as far as I remember, everybody knows it. But talking about your position, talking about head, talking about putting your camera in the center of your own screen, it's kind of practical issues that's not written everywhere in web. That's it. So, in case you have any questions about video, audio, online, you're welcome to ask. Of course, just to recall, keep your body settled, keep your body prepared, warmed up, keep your face warmed up, open your mouth, train your voice all the time. It's very universal, it's for live presentation and for online. Keep yourself in a screen, look in the camera to let your audience see your eyes. Feel your eye contact. And one more, I just forgot it. You're welcome to use cheat sheet. Like if you have any kind of special plan, you're absolutely welcome to write it on paper and put it. It's normal, it's pretty good, it's typical. Just put it and use it if you wish, if you need it. Sometimes we can, okay, it's a very practical case, we shouldn't take it. So, at that moment, that's it. Now, going back to the presentation in general, and now a little bit about questions. Dear colleagues, if you have any questions, specification or feedback right now, you're welcome to unmute, tell me and mute again. What to do with questions from your public? How to deal with it? Dear colleagues, questions from your public is perfect, it's really good. So it's a sign of attention. Like in Western countries, in Europe, in the United States, as far as I know, it's kind of professional politeness, professional tactful, when after any kind of presenter, almost everyone has to ask something. Maybe something very easy, very understandable, very kind of stupid, but something, to ask something, at least something. to show the presenter that they just keep their attention on the topic. So it is, if you are an audience, it's really a good idea to create any kind of question and to ask. If you are a presenter, it's your own idea, it's your own choice. Should you let them wait, let your audience wait until question and answer session at the end, or I don't know, maybe in the middle, it's up to you. Or it's okay for them to ask question anytime. Actually, it's really good for you as a speaker if they can ask question anytime, because there is the absolutely right moment for question. The moment when question appears in the head of your audience, in the head of someone from your audience. So, if you're brave enough, if you're strong enough as a speaker, if you're experienced enough as a speaker, please allow your public ask question all the time. What do I mean strong enough? What do I mean experienced enough? I mean, after any kind of question from public, you absolutely qualified to answer that question and then come back to the point of topic, to the topic you have just discussed, and continue your discussion from the topic you were interrupted. So, in a case, if you feel yourself junior or mid-level speaker, like not so skilled, you're absolutely welcome to create question-answer session at the end. Maybe it could be a little bit easier. But if you have great attention from public, if you have communication, if you have kind of discussion with public, please let your public ask questions. First rule, announce your public that they are welcome to answer questions. Sorry, ask questions. Second, after every question, please answer that question. Reply it in any way. Even in a case if you are going to answer the question in 5 minutes, just say, thank you very much for your question. In 5 minutes we will reach this point. So please be patient and wait for 5 minutes more. Next one. After every question, show your interest in questions. I mean, say something like very easy and very stupid. Thank you for your question. It's a great question. Like gratitude and evaluation of that question. Tell your audience that they're welcome to ask questions. Answer every question. At least something, at least reply it in a way. Be grateful, be appreciative for question and evaluate this question. It's better to evaluate it in a good way, actually. You're welcome to evaluate it in a bad way, in kind of paradoxical way. It's up to you as a speaker. It's your choice. So, senior level speakers sometimes can evaluate some questions in a bad way. In a case if the question is kind of very bad, very challenging, or question not acceptable. So it's kind of not so beautiful way, not so polite maybe way to show that that question is not so good. But it's better to do it only in very understandable cases when all the public understands that the question is unacceptable, and you are welcome to again show it to the person who had just asked you that this question is unacceptable. But okay, practical case. After answering that question, tell all the public that, yeah, great, it's okay to answer questions, so thank you very much, and continue. Yeah? So, be grateful for questions. Please meet all the questions and be grateful for them. Questions. Let's say that that is the scope of your maybe expertise. So that's everything you know about, for example, IT. Okay? Let's say that that is the scope of your speech with your audience. No matter is it customer or any kind of public during conference or anything. And let's imagine that the question goes exactly here. In that case, answer it. That question, you know the answer, it's okay. One additional case. Maybe here's any kind of special area of questions you have no right to answer, like confidential questions. Maybe it's private questions. You see, typically in our professional sphere, private questions is unacceptable. Questions like, are you married? What is your age? And pay attention that in different cultures, people's reaction on that question may be very different. For example, in Russia, in Ukraine, in Belarus, there is kind of not so very acceptable, but still a little bit acceptable, kind of forgivable sexism during presentations. So, if someone asks, kind of, lady presenter, is she married or something, it could be thought not as a sexism, not as a private, some kind of sexual harassment, but sometimes people can accept it as a compliment for beautiful lady. But in Western countries, in Europe, in United States, understanding of such questions is absolutely different sometimes. Those countries are much more aware about such questions, about sexual harassment and so on. So if you're not skilled in the questions of sexual harassment, please be really careful with that. Don't try to create compliments, because some kind of speakers might feel it's not a compliment really. Please pay attention about it. But let's come back. So that is a scope of questions you're not ready to answer. Maybe private questions, maybe kind of challenging questions. There is also such kind of topic like meta-level questions, so questions not about person, not about topic, but about, okay, let's come back later during the trolling part to meta-level questions. And if the question is somewhere here, you're absolutely welcome to say, unfortunately, I have no possibility, I'm not really, I have no right to answer that question, or any kind of such phrase. So reject that question. No answer. If that question is into your scope, and you know the answer and it's acceptable, just answer it. If that question is outside of scope, you're absolutely welcome to tell, I'm really sorry, but that question is out of scope, and it's not about our topic, so no answer right now. Or if you have enough time, as an opposite, you're welcome to answer it if you need to spend time. Like, you have 2 hours, you have finished in 30 minutes, you're welcome to discuss for 1.5 hours about the kind of additional question. If that question is outside of your field of expertise, and the question is, of course, outside of the field of your scope, you're also welcome to say, I don't know. Because it's not your responsibility to know the answer on that question. So you're absolutely welcome to say, I don't know. I'm not the person who really has to know the answer on that question. Tricky situation when there is your expertise and this is scope of communication. In that case, we have any kind of field of questions. You're not qualified enough to answer, but they are in a scope. That question, guys, that's your problem, that's your fail, actually. Those questions, actually, if it's in a scope, you have to know the answer. If you don't know the answer of that question, you can use sometime, okay, as a last idea, you can try to use some kind of special techniques of avoiding uncomfortable questions. But please pay attention that you are the person who is responsible for that question and you don't know the answer, so it's a fail. It's a professional fail of you as a speaker. In a case, if you have made such kind of fails, you can learn the trolling techniques of avoiding any kind of questions. And look, remember, there is no logical way to avoid such questions, because your responsibility is to know the answer, your possibility, you don't know the answer. You fail. But kind of tricky ways goes in the field of the trolling. So it's a ways of emotional avoiding answering that question. It's a way of kind of cheating mostly. We can touch such ways of cheating because those ways can be useful for you. But please, pay more attention to preparation, so do not allow such situation. We can come back later. question answering, question and answer session, fields, and so on. Yeah, okay. Special experts. Too lot of details. Ladies and gentlemen, please let me know what do you know exactly, what do you want to specify, what do you know to clarify, maybe your practical case about questions. You have approximately 10 seconds to type or to ask you. It's better to ask, to unmute yourself, tell it to speak it up and mute again. But I will try to check the chat if you don't mind. So 10 seconds to check the chat and to continue communication. Oh, we have two interesting questions that refer to last our session 2 days ago. How the body movement topic is related to the main idea we have just selected. Great question. Let me please touch that question during the enforcement of your main idea, enforcement of your message, because it relates to Maxim. Yeah, it's a question of Maxim, so we can come back to a question a bit later. Dear colleagues, if you have no any clarification about this topic of questions, let's check the time. Yeah, it's too early, really early. So a little bit about objections. You are the person who are going to do any type of sales job. You're going to ensure your customer, as far as I remember, as far as I know, kind of your responsibilities as production managers in the future. One of your tasks is to ensure your customer, to make them believe, make them feel, make them remember and think that the product, the result of EPAM project they just ordered are really good, that the project is finalized, this project is good, and so on, that they really need. You are the one who communicate with customer all the time. So, kind of sales ideas, sales techniques that salesperson, the one who can call you and by phone and try to sell you any kind of doors, or I don't know, water filters or knives or anything. Sometimes you have to do something like that job. You are welcome to sell the idea, sell EPAM to the customer. So please, be prepared to find best ideas, best practices of sales, and to use those best practices in your practice if they're good for your practice. You are clever enough to decide which practice is good, which is bad. Of course, your customers usually know all those topics. Sometimes they know it, sometimes they can see that techniques, sales techniques, any kind of special type of questions, special type of building phrases. We can touch those building phrases and techniques in a persuasion topic, so a little bit later. They know those techniques and they can discover it, they can see it, they can clarify that you use those techniques. And it's not always bad. Sometimes they can feel that you are the same person as he or she, because you and they visited the same trainings, you use the same techniques, so it's kind of people from one group, people who are the same ones. So don't be afraid, please, of using special techniques. They still work. Even very stupid techniques of compliment, like to say, wow, you look good today. Almost everybody feels good after such compliments. Maybe not you personally, but it doesn't mean that someone else don't feel good after such compliments. You're welcome to try it by yourself. It's in general, it's theory. Now, practice. Main objectives. Actually, you can find a lot of details in books or in short articles in web about sales, about handling objections, about coping objections, dealing with objections, and so on. Now, I just propose a very short overview of those techniques. Remember the main idea. When you have negotiation with your customer, no matter pre-sales, sales negotiations, or post-sales, or any kind of product managers, sometimes you have, very often, you have different level of budget. Minimum budget is acceptable, that is acceptable for you and EPAM. Maybe kind of middle budget, and of course kind of maximum that is possible. But of course it's better to go to eternity, this maximum, make it more and more and more, especially for unique product. And one of the most popular objections during any kind of communications is, we have no budget for that. We have no budget for that. It's very typical, it's very stupid, and usually it covers a lot of underwater stones, underwater rocks, because it doesn't mean they have no budget. Everybody has any kind of budget, remember it. So if they say that they have no money for any kind of special feature you're going to propose, it doesn't mean that they have no money at all, usually. Phrase, we have no money, or our budget is too limited for that, just means that the value you're going to propose them, they don't feel all the value of those features. They don't need features they don't feel that value. Maybe they don't know what does it mean. You are expert, you know what value can this feature you're going to sell brings to customer. Maybe your customer don't know. So, coming back for every objection, so general rule of objections. Never, ever, never think that objection is rejection. Objection is just start of communication for you. If you receive an objection, please just try to explore it. Please ask additional questions. If someone tells you, sorry, we have no budget for that, and if you're sure that it's profitable for you and for EPAM to receive this budget from your customer, you're welcome to ask, okay, maybe you have any kind of limitation of budget I can know about. You can ask another question, something like, let me please know, do you have a limitation, do you aim it to budget, or do you aim it to any kind of features you're going to receive? Another measurement of success. So every customer has its own vision. Maybe they have only limited budget. That's okay, it's practical case. But if they have any special aims and they don't feel that product you're going to propose them allows them to reach those goals and aims, you're welcome to investigate. If they don't need it, if they don't see the value, show them value. You know about that value. So, never, never, never argue with customer. Never, ever, never try to reinforce or feel it as a rejection. It's just an objection. So, next, main idea. If you hear objection, ask, investigate, find the roots. Find the root and find why this objection. Take your time to that, think about that, and find why is this objection is not actually works for you. Maybe it's a very practical case. If you propose any kind of price on this level, and your customer says, oh, you see, we have no money for that. You can ask, what is your minimum level? Maybe if you have limitation of budget, can you please let me know what is the minimum level? He can answer something like, okay, our minimum level is here. And you can see that, wow, it's acceptable for EPAM. It's acceptable for you here because it's much more than minimal level you can accept. So that's the point of your agreement. Okay. Responsibilities. So I'm not the right person. It's second very popular objection. I'm not the right person. Actually, when I hear such objection, I'm thinking, so why the hell I'm talking to you? Where is the right person? But of course, you shouldn't tell this way. You're welcome to feel anything you want, but in polite manner, in tactful manner, you can clarify which way can you communicate with right person, with decision maker. You can clarify something like, do you have constant communication with decision maker? Can I communicate with you and you as decision maker, so to let us understand what decision makers think about it? But the best way for sales specialist is to find decision maker, to break the gatekeeper. It's kind of professional jargonism. Gatekeeper is someone like person who is accepting phone calls and keeping the schedule and so on. So how to avoid the gatekeeper and reach the decision maker. So if I am not the right person, so you're welcome to do it in a polite way, easy way, to clarify. Okay, but where is the right person? Where is the decision maker? How can we talk about with decision maker? One additional practical case, one story about our colleagues from EPAM. So it was a pre-sales team that went to a customer. Unfortunately, I don't know the name of customer and the name of those team, but it was a team of customers representatives, about 6 or 7 persons. Main group of persons were in suits, in a white skirt and in beautiful black jackets, and they were really beautiful. And there were also a guy in a t-shirt, in an old t-shirt with kind of laptop, who sat somewhere in a corner and tried to, I don't know, just type something in a keyboard. And they held negotiation process for 1 or 2 hours or something. And at the end, all the team tell them, thank you very much, we're going to make our decision, could you please wait a little bit? The decision was right, so it was okay, the decision was very good for EPAM. But finally, after the decision, they discovered that exactly this guy in t-shirt, with notebook, with laptop in a corner of the room, who was absolutely quiet all the time of negotiation, who was kept absolutely silent all the time, just sometimes he absorbed the process. He was a decision maker and CEO of company. And all guys present in beautiful suits and in beautiful jackets and so on, they were kind of technical specialists, design, sales specialists, HR specialists, programmer, main programmer, development engineer and so on. But they discovered specific features of product, of course, but decision maker was just absorber. So our EPAM team couldn't put all the charisma, all the attention on decision maker. They had to put all this charisma on guys they thought are decision makers, but it wasn't true. So the main idea of and the meaning of the story is please explore the role of every person in the negotiations. And one more idea is the art of body language analysis. So we can touch it just slightly. If you want to go deeper, to drill deeper into that point, just let me know by chat or by voice, just unmute yourself. That's the question of keeping your attention on your public and understanding that attention, understanding their behavior and reading that behavior. For example, when you're asking any kind of question to your audience, to customers communicating with you, you're welcome to look which person from their team most of them are usually look at. One more feature, joke. Try to joke, and this is kind of part of psychology of humans. When they laughing, they typically, and not always of course, but usually, typically in common situations, they look at the person they respect most of all. If they have kind of boss here in the group, and if you don't know that boss, you can make a joke and observe which person are the majority of customers look at when they are laughing. If you can discover such person, that's kind of sign for you that it might be that that person, exactly that person, is a decision maker. Of course, in the case if you know decision maker, if everybody knows and everybody knows that he's a leader of business, he's a CEO, it's okay for you. But in some types of negotiations, they prefer to hide it. And to discover it, it's your great art. It's great benefit you can receive from this negotiation to understand who is the decision maker. Let me please know, is it clear enough? 10 seconds to unmute yourself, ask questions, and I would, in 10 seconds, I would check the chat. Do we have any special question? No, we haven't. Dear colleagues, I have messaged the server is down, so could you please, at least someone of you, please unmute yourself, tell several words to understand that you are still here.
We can hear you, but sometimes you're breaking up for a second.
Yeah, I'm connected, no problems.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. That's okay, so everybody's here. So
maybe ask the location of the employee, so the other people in his location can confirm.
Yeah, I see. Okay, so, right person. Next, very typical objection from public you're communicating, but it's also more acceptable for sales, but not for negotiations. But anyway, right time for communication. It's kind of about schedule, about phone call. Of course, in our typical practice, we can with negotiating first is the time for phone call, but if you see a phrase like "I'm sorry," it's not really comfortable for me to communicate. Great. Stop communication at that moment. Propose break. Take the break, time out, and negotiate the next time to communicate. What time is more comfortable for you? This objection is a very stupid one, it's a very old one, and it's also mostly about cold phone calls and so on. Anyway, for us, the great rule is we usually communicate about very big amounts of money. We communicate about very big resources and the destiny and fate of big resources. So, usually we have enough time. Usually for our company it's profit to have enough time to communicate. So please, be absolutely sure you can take a break. Anytime, by the way. Now small relation to persuasion techniques. Because this part goes to persuasion techniques and sometimes manipulative techniques. Techniques of manipulation of feelings, of thoughts and so on. Please remember the great rule of defending from manipulations. Anytime, at any moment you feel just a little bit uncomfortable, or on the opposite, any moment you can feel too comfortable, too good, too pleasing, please take a break, at least short break. Stop and think, why are you feel so uncomfortable or comfortable? Any moment. Of course, good kind of ideal communications, ideal negotiations goes without manipulative techniques. But some people, by using manipulative techniques can earn some additional money, several $1,000s, $7 million, I don't know. And sometimes they're not so honest, sometimes they're not so good person to communicate with. So please keep attention on your feeling, on your mood, because typical manipulative techniques put person they communicate with into not so comfortable situation, somewhere out of zone of comfort, or in opposite, they put them into zone of, now I'm talking in theory, but of course I can propose you practical examples if you prefer. They can put the person into zone of comfort to let that person out of zone of comfort forget about some details that not so good for EPAM but good for manipulator. Or if they are in zone of comfort, they can make person, for example you, to forget again about some features that are not so comfortable for EPAM but comfortable for them, because you also feel so comfort, like a lot of compliments, and young and not so skilled person feels so good. Wow, they respect me. Such tasty cookies, such tasty coffee in that company. Okay, they're so good and pleasant person. I don't want to tell with them about those not so beautiful features, about those issues, about those bugs. So I don't want to kind of make them feel bad about it. So please remember, as a great rule of defending of manipulations, of manipulating proof, yes, manipulation being hexproof, yeah, actually being hexproof and manipulation proof. Please, anytime you feel uncomfortable, or anytime, any moment you feel too comfortable, please take a break, take a time out. And to finalize, if person you talk to tells that it's not the right time, you're welcome to discuss the right time and take time out. Colleagues, what questions do you have? What cases, specific cases, could you please let me know? Nothing new in the chat. You have 5 seconds to questions.
Are there any other techniques to defend of manipulation except of taking a break? Because break is not always an option.
Yeah. Pay attention that as far as I know, typical workflow of business negotiations, break should be always an option. It's kind of idea of honest manipulations, honest negotiations, that every time you can take a break. It's kind of typical. Pay attention that if you feel that it's uncomfortable to take a break, that's one of markers that you are manipulated. Because one of very great ways of manipulation is to put your person you communicate with into feeling that they have not enough time, kind of deficit of time, of money or something. It's very typical for sales in a department store, like only today 50% of sale, or we have liquidation of last collection, so only 5 items left. You can come and buy one of those items. We have only 2 cars with all the price. It's very typical manipulations in commercials, in advertising, in anywhere. So in business, in normal, in honest business negotiations, break is an option always. It's always an option. And if you feel from your customers that you have no time, like your customers look in hurry, they look like they have to keep time, they have a lot of business and so on, it's one of signs that it's a great moment for you to take a break. Oh, I'm sorry if you're so in hurry, let's find another time to communicate, because you see, we have to be very calm and very clever to communicate. So what time is more comfortable for you to talk about that issue? So in general, please pay attention. If you feel that take a break is not an option, that is a marker for that moment that it's great time to take a break. you might be manipulated by your person you communicate with. Okay, let's imagine that you are absolutely agree that neither person you communicate with nor you have time to break, so no time to break. No time at all, limited time. In that case, anyway, it's impossible to have normal business communication in a condition of lack of time. You're welcome to put any kind of set of features that should be discussed. You can have an agreement that, okay, we have no time to discuss those features, let's discuss it later. But it's again way of time break, again of time out, way of time out, like break. Another ways of avoiding manipulation. If someone tell you, show you that he have no time, one traditional way is to ask, oh, it's interesting, why are you so busy? Why you have no time to good communication? Is it typical in your company that you have no time to negotiations, to discuss all the features and so on? So be polite, be tactful, but just clarify, like, is it normal in your company that you have no time to discuss all the features?
I'm sorry, Alexei. Hi, Alexei. I'm sorry, but I strongly disagree here, so I would like to, object. I don't believe I can afford saying to my customer that does sound sarcastic somewhat. You know, like people usually who attend meetings, they're high-level executives or top managers. If you start to ask them how is it used in your company that you cannot find time for negotiations, that would definitely piss them off. So I would recommend instead of that, asking them, and that's what I do on a daily basis. Like if you don't have enough time, what are the topics most interesting to you? And would you like me to start with them? And if anybody else has objections. So that would be my proposition. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Great, thank you so much.
I found that very interesting and informative. Thank you.
Sorry, Alexei.
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry?
I have a point as well. So I think it also varies depending on what part of the world you're in or the type of the culture of the client that you're working with. So for example, working with Japanese clients might not be the same with working with American clients, and you might need to be more patient if you're working with the Japanese client, and you may be affordable to be a bit more, I suppose, pushy or ask your questions a bit more more sternly with US clients is the point I'm trying to make, depending on the culture of the place and the organization.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Actually, I would to add that I'm not an expert in ethno-psychological nuances of clients, so I cannot say anything about, for example, Japanese clients at that moment. But thank you very much. Coming back to the question about top manager representative from clients who really have very valuable time. I totally see your point. Thank you for the clarification. So, several ideas, just practical ideas. Please decide, are they acceptable for you? Before meeting, online, offline, or phone meeting with the top manager customer, please structure your questions you have. Please note it in the paper and structure it into topics, like topic sets. Maybe questions about design, questions about functionality, question about budget, question about changing the terms of product, and so on. Yeah, so it's very typical. And while starting your communication, you're welcome to use this question of time. You're welcome to make this compliment to your top manager you're communicating with, like say, hello sir, I'm absolutely sure your time is really valuable and costs a lot of money. So we have a big list of questions, but I'm not sure you have enough time to answer it. It depends on you. Remember, it depends on you. But if we have no time to answer this set of questions or this, could you please give me contacts of person, could you please advise me a person who can be responsible to answering such questions, such, for example, functionality question or design question, to communicate with. Sometimes it's a good idea to start such organizational part at the beginning of your negotiations to understand which person can be responsible for such questions, such questions, such questions. So you can refer to such persons later, because their time is not so valuable. And all the time, if you do it, that please make recordings of all communications, documentations for all communications, all history. Please pay big attention, all the history of communication, because if this responsible person will make a mistake, kind of mistake, or advise you something or decide something that is not acceptable by top manager, if you have documentation of your all the history of communication when the responsible person advises you something or answers in some way, you can show it to the manager and say, not our problem, I'm really sorry, but person you gave us, tell them. Okay.
Alexei, can I add something? It's a very interesting point that you're making, and about the documenting the decisions, and obviously very helpful in our practices. One of the things I've been recently experimenting with, and with our customer, is actually not sending any follow-up notes. You know, it's the usual practice to send follow-up notes. Usually, so because of the trustful relationship, basically a lot of trust that we have with the customer, there are some of the decisions that they make are not 100% official, let's put it that way. So I was trying to experiment whether in some cases just talking to them and not making it overly official might help. Did prove useful in some cases. I must admit that in some cases they did sometimes forget their decisions and say, oh no, I never said that. So just wanted to share this experience, and sometimes it might come in handy, but yeah, as a general rule, definitely follow-ups are useful.
Thank you so much. I have an idea, yes, and please clarify, then make me feedback, is it relevant for a question or not? Am I understood your question right? So, if you have kind of honest communication with your customer, and if customer don't prefer to make any kind of follow-ups, you're welcome to use our official EPAM standards, like just say, sorry, but in our company it's just part of our job, we have no choice, we have to send you follow-up, and do it by yourself and send this follow-up. If this customer ignores that follow-up and don't answer like something like email, like, yeah, everything is right, thank you, you're welcome to say one more copy of follow-up and write, sorry, we really need, because of our inner company regulations, we really need your approve to this follow-up that everything is right. If we cannot receive your approve in 1 week, we will we can accept that you agree with that and approve that follow-up. That case put your customer in situation when he either approves this follow-up by email or, of course, correct it if you want to correct it, but you can receive any kind of reply from him, or according to your email, by his silence, you receive his silence as an approvement of that follow-up. So you really need the exact answer. And one more additional, just several seconds, let me please finalize my thought. Pay attention that negotiations and communications when everybody looks honest and looks very open and so on, it's a great way of manipulations. Be careful with that. Because great manipulators, they rather often create these feelings of feelings of honesty, feelings of true communication, like, okay, I believe you, everything's okay, we are friends, of course, yes, please do it this way, I believe you can do it in better way, and so on and so on and so on. But when the question becomes challenging, they can answer, stop, I'm not sure I told it, no, I didn't tell it, you failure, you failed the project, and so on. So, especially if you feel comfort because of great and honesty in your communication, please just follow the company rules. Just say, sorry, but in our company it's part of our job, we have no possibility, my boss need me to have this documentation, all these emails and so on. And even video recording of your negotiations. EPAM have enough spaces on laptops and on servers to save all the big list of video of negotiations of you and your customer. Sorry, I had interrupted someone. Could you please clarify? Was it a relevant answer or something?
It was me. I'm Sergey. So Couple notes here. So we should clearly distinguish follow-ups from approval requests. For follow-ups, you will never ever force client to say, okay, you have to approve something. Follow-up is more to help you recall going forward. If you like, what was the agreement? It's not forcing somebody, it's just helping you going forward. For approvals, I also disagree with, we assume by default, if you don't approve, we take you, like this is a default approval. Typical ways, and even legally, we say, okay, if you don't receive approval by that day, we just stop any work, or we don't give you resource. And I think it's legally right move, and it forces client to make their decision. And it's more clear, because legally they can sue us if we say, okay, by default we treated your silence as an answer. Yeah, that's pretty much it from my end.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your experience. That's great. Dear colleagues, what additional questions do you have? Could you please let me know? Can we finish with the topic, or is there something to discuss? You're welcome. It's 5 seconds to unmute and tell.
Yeah, couple more things, just maybe to add, like maybe include into the program. Couple more symptoms of manipulative techniques is when somebody is starting raising voice on you. So how should you react? Basically, you should stay calm and feel like you, he's complaining about his like problems, not screaming about you, but he should behave like he's just complaining with a calm voice. So when somebody is screaming, that's very useful to stay calm, because manipulators very often use this emotional aspect to make you scream and look bad in front of everyone. Also, manipulators make your problem look smaller than it is. So they're always trying to compare, like you say, okay, there is a problem like in our production environment, the server stopped and we cannot deliver a release. Manipulator can say in this case, like, your problem is nothing, it's very small compared to mine. They're trying to make this comparable matrix and decrease the importance of the problem that you came to solve in this meeting. So in this case, it's very important to just keep track of what your problem is, what exactly downsides will bring, what value company can lose, etc. And like, yeah, this kind of stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's great. And that's exactly in details, and very important details, what I meant by feeling of great comfort or uncomfortable feeling when you communication. So if it's a kind of atmosphere, for me, for example, yes, I told on kind of in general, more general level, if communicator creates atmosphere of trust and honestly, it's very typical for manipulators. They prefer to create this, in some kind of manipulators prefer to create. Another one prefer to create atmosphere of uncomfortable way, like screaming, like pressing and so on. If you cannot do the product, if you cannot answer in a week, I will reject this product and you will not receive any amount of money and so on, so give me answer now. So that's all. Thank you so much for your comments. That's great and relevant. Dear colleagues, could you please add another comments if you wish, or questions, specification, feedbacks? Great. What do you think? Is it a good idea to have a short break right now? Approximately 5 minutes break. Could you please let me know if someone prefer to work without break, let me know. Please speak up. If you prefer to make break right now, please speak up.
Let's have a break.
Thank you.
5-minute break would be nice.
So, colleagues, 5 minutes break, approximately 300 minutes, and we come back. Thank you. So, hello again, dear colleagues. We continue our training, theoretical part of training of Product Managers University. So, we are now on the point of objections and dealing with objections. And one more, and as far as I remember, in general, it's the last of biggest objections we can hear. It's not what we need. Like, it's not exactly about our needs. We don't need this product. We don't need this functionality and so on. Maybe it's the most relevant for our specialty, our expertise, our job. And this type of objection is really also really close to the type of objection like we have no money for that. It usually shows that value in your customer's heads for the functionality you want to propose is not so big, like goes to zero. That's not exactly what we need. And if you're absolutely sure that they need it, and if they say that that's what they need, it's better. The great idea is to research the situation. Go deeply, drill the situation, and ask additional questions. Questions like, could you please clarify what exactly you need? How do you see the result? Because, you see, if you really meet such kind of objection, that sometimes means that your job that we together did 2 days ago during our first theoretical session about creation main idea, this mission and main message of our presentation, blah, 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 and when we make our presentation and here, that's what we need, not exactly what we need, that we don't need it, this functionality, that means that our preliminary job was failed, was made in mistaken way, not right way, so it's kind of error there. So, you're welcome to research. Was it your mistake when you tried to recognize what is the need of your customer, what is the exact need? I mean exactly, not in a general way, to satisfy customer, to feel good, to go to success, to earn money, but specific. Biggest visiting of our travel aggregator website. Biggest amount of visitors or fastest interaction with database via mobile application, maybe iPhone mobile application. So investigate, was it your mistake, or sometimes maybe it's customer who do not really understand how it works. Why do they need it? So investigate slowly. Take additional time, if it's possible, of course if it's possible, book additional meeting, maybe a meeting with special person with special responsibilities that you need, and investigate, they really don't need it. If they don't, great. Kick it off from your project. Reduce the scope. If any kind of functionality are in a scope, preliminary accepted scope, approved scope, but they say that that's what we need, that situation you have to explore. You have to understand, should this functionality be in a scope or not be? So, coming back to general idea, investigate objections. Do not ever think that objections is final and you cannot do something with that. You always can do something. Always be polite, always be really flexible. Remember that objections is not rejections. You almost always can ask, clarify something, especially when you are not someone who just call into a company, try to sell any kind of water filter or I don't know, transportation logistics service. But if you are company representative of a very huge international IT company, PAM Systems, take another time, investigate that situation and decide. Maybe its customer not clearly understand what that functionality do and what that functionality brings to him, to them, to customer. Or maybe it's your understanding of project scope. Why do you want to put this functionality in a case if there is no such functionality in a scope? Isn't it a gold plating? Do you know this gold plating is kind of mistake of project managers when they try to propose additional functionality that wasn't kind of need of customer, but you as a project manager thought that it's beautiful, it's made in a better way, and so on. So be aware, be very careful with gold plating, be aware of gold plating. Finally, that's it. And ladies and gentlemen, in short words and brief, I want to stop with dealing with objection topic for that moment. Could you please clarify or ask additional questions if you wish to understand, do we need to continue to spend a bit more time on dealing with objections and handling objections? We have 5 to 6 seconds to speak it up. Okay, thank you so much. So, next topic. Enforcing of your main idea. What does it mean? In my opinion, is a big set of ways how to make your main idea more memorable. I mean, how to sometimes ensure your client or any person you communicate with, how to make them remember the main idea, how to make them sometimes feel that main idea is their idea. So be careful with those techniques, because those techniques some of them are rather famous, but it works usually in commercials, in advertising. A big list, a big set of different techniques. I would propose you the most well known. And there are a lot of new techniques appears all the time. But first of all, the most easy, the most beautiful kind of theatrical technique is techniques of ensure yourself that you are right. This technique goes from theater. And this technique goes well, it works in our business, in the business of negotiators. So, do remember, at the beginning of today's session, you created a very short message. Very short one, very specific one. Could you please repeat your message again, right now in your head? Now, could you please be so kind to believe this message? Believe it absolutely, like it's absolutely true. And now repeat it again in your head, in your mind, like it's absolutely true. In a case, if you are kind of very clever one and you feel that this message, honestly, is not absolutely true, you're welcome to put a kind of +1 in the chat. So if you feel that your message is not such a really true for your customer, please put +1 or something to understand it, just vote it. But anyway, please continue putting your pluses if it is. Please again, tell yourself this main message like it's absolutely true. Find any kind of mirroring and tell to your reflection in a mirror this idea like it's absolutely true. Practice this idea, practice telling this idea to another person, to anyone, like this is absolutely true. It's first way to enforce your idea. Next way. Yeah. Not about your idea, now put your main message and main idea a little bit aside. And now let's walk a little bit with your first phrase. Meeting phrase, greeting phrase. Phrase you're starting your communication. See, this technique goes mostly from public speaking, but it works absolutely perfectly with negotiations, with product managers, and so on. So what's the idea? Please recall person you really love. I'm not talking about sex or something. Person you really like. Person, maybe it's kind of related, maybe it's your son, maybe it's your wife, any kind of your person you privately really like and really love. Now, Could you please recall any word or phrase, any phrase that you typically tell to that person when you want to show that person how do you love him or her? For example, please use your own language, please your native language if you communicate with this person on your native language. So just repeat in your head again this word. For example, in my experience, it's something like in my language. Yeah, okay, in my language. I'm talking about Russian, Belarusian language. Please recall the phrase you can tell to a person you really like and you really love. It might be your friend, it might be your mother or father, it might be your wife or some kind of partner. It's up to you. I don't care. It's not my business actually. But please, just recall the phrase you can tell the person to show your love, to show how do you respect that person and love that person and so on. Could you please put +1 into chat if it's okay for you, if you can recall this person and if you can recall this word. I'm expecting your reaction. By the way, yes. Great, great. Could you please continue to put pluses or +1s if you can recall that person? But what to do right now? Now the main part of techniques. Now imagine that in this phrase, I mean not only rhetorical construction of phrase, like words and letters you use, but I'm talking about intonation you tell the phrase. Thank you very much for +1s. Please continue. Great. Imagine yourself all the warmness, all the feelings, all the love, all the emotions, pleasant emotions you put in the words. All not what do you say, what do you tell in that phrase, using that phrase, but how do you tell that phrase? Remember how do you tell that phrase. Now please remove the rhetorical context. Remove the words you usually use, something like родненькие мои, or любимая моя, or my darling, or lovely, my dear friend. Remove those phrases, but keep the warmness, keep the respect and love, and put all this warmness and respect and love into official meeting phrase. Official phrase you can start your performance with. Something like, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Or something like, hi Nike, I'm really nice to see you. Or something like, hello Jane, I'm really glad to see you again this week. How are you? So put all warmness, all respect, all love from your inner phrase, your private phrase you can use to communicate with your person you love. Put all this, the same warmness, approximately the same love and the same emotions, emotional meaning of phrase, put it inside official phrase of presentation. Remember that conscious mind of person you communicate with will see the rhetorical meaning, but subconscious mind of person you talk to will understand, will feel all this meaning. So just starting with this phrase. Now please, finally, to finalize the techniques, could you please now tell this phrase, official meeting phrase you usually start your presentation with or you start your communication with, please tell that phrase with all the emotions, with all the feelings, with all that love and respect you can put into your private phrase for your friend, for your wife, for your girlfriend, for your boyfriend, for your whoever. It's not my business, so your lovely person. Please practice it by yourself. It's a great idea to practice it, to speak it up. I don't need it. You don't need to unmute your microphone, but please, right now, speak it up loudly, in your place, in your location. Practice the phrase. Do we have any questions about it? Yeah. Okay. So, the main idea of the techniques, the theatrical techniques, is to say official meeting phrase with a little bit warmer, with a little bit more respect and positive attitude, to put in that phrase paraverbalic level, change the paraverbalic level of this phrase, change the non-verbal level of that phrase to make it more person to person, make it more personal, more lovely, more warm, and so on. You're welcome to practice it. You're welcome to try that. Usually, people, but please pay attention, this techniques works perfectly when you communicate with person from approximately your culture, approximately your location, your age, and so on. It's the best way to use the techniques. If you communicate with person from absolutely another culture, it might be a little bit different, so it might not work with you. Next. How to enforce your phrase. Now let's go back to our not mission, but yes, main phrase, we developed at the beginning of the training session. The idea of use body language or paraverbal communication or paraverbal, I mean your voice, the main idea is to change your behavior while you're saying that exact phrase, that specific phrase. And you can put that phrase in the center of sentence. So like big sentence and somewhere in the middle of the sentence there's a phrase. Change your behavior. How can we do it? You can do any kind of special gesture for this phrase. Something like we have phrase, please love the raccoons. Yeah? So it's kind of trading phrase for love the raccoons. And you can say, everybody's saying, do we need to love the raccoons? Actually, loving the raccoons is a great idea for communication. Exactly, loving the raccoons, we can discover that blah 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 blah. And that's it. So, anchor, exact gesture that always made during that phrase. That gesture might be very different. It might be just movement of your head. Like EPAM Systems is a company that proposed you the project you can see on a screen. Exactly, EPAM Systems specialist had discovered that blah 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 blah. You can ask her, why do EPAM Systems think that it's a good idea? If you discover it, EPAM Systems, EPAM Systems, EPAM Systems. And this movement, not for Bulgaria, because in Bulgaria, usually for countries except Bulgaria, this movement is movement of acceptance of it's a yes movement of head. So for countries where this movement of head is yes, to use this gesture, head gesture, it's an idea to make this phrase more, to enforce it a little bit, to make it more valuable, to put more emotion. Ladies and gentlemen, that general idea of enforcement of your thoughts, of ideas you propose. Because logic goes on absolutely neutral, emotionally neutral level. But now we're talking about a situation when, of course, and I absolutely agree, if you have absolutely profitable proposal for your customer, and your customer is absolutely clever, customer can see that the proposal is absolutely profitable, and of course accept the proposal. So ideal situation is great, it's spherical situation in vacuum, but you work with real conditions, and sometimes you can see that this proposal is profitable, but your customer, as not an expert, cannot understand it. Your customer might reject this proposal only because he don't believe, or he or she, don't believe really that this proposal is really good for them. So, in that case, technically, You can try enforcement, emotional enforcement. For public speakers, it's very typical. For negotiations, it's not so typical, but it works. Anyway, it works in your communication. Next way of your body language. So, we have ways of gesturing. EPAM Systems is a company that blah blah blah. EPAM Systems will give you blah blah blah. EPAM Systems. Next way, head movement. Next way, body movement. Again, EPAM Systems is a company, or EPAM Systems is a company that, you see, you can make it in bigger way, EPAM system, but only on a big stage with a lot of public. If you communicate like 1 by 1 or 1 by 7 person in front of small group of customers, please reduce the scale. EPAM systems, just a little bit. Use it EPAM system, just 1 centimeter of this body movement. One more, using your choreography. EPAM Systems is a company that proposes you blah 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 and blah blah blah. Exactly, EPAM Systems can resolve issue you told us about yesterday blah 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 blah. Yep. So, your body language. The main idea is change your body language during your main phrase. Put your main phrase, like viral phrase. We can call this technique sometimes called viral phrases. Like viral phrases is phrases that should be put into head of a person you communicate to. And have you ever heard about? Okay, it's a story. Let's put it to face-to-face trainings. Not right now. Now more theory. Dear colleagues, could you please let me know, is it understandable for you how to enforce your phrases, enforce your words, meaning of your words, emotional weight of your words using body language? If you have any questions, could you please ask it right now? Please unmute yourself and speak up. Okay, thank you so much. Now, next level. Again enforcing, again emotions, but now a little bit about paraverbal level. So how do your voice works? Now we should practically work with the issue I told you at the end of our Tuesday session about audio book, about great audio, as recorder of audio book, reader, so, and emotions in your voice. So main idea is the same as idea with body language. Enforce the same phrase. When you tell this viral phrase, change a little bit your paraverbal level. So level you pronounce, level you use your voice. What does it mean? Change the tone of your voice. What can we say? Let's blah 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 blah. EPAM systems. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. EPAM systems. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, so make it a little bit lower. Or in opposite, a little bit higher. Ta-dum, ta-dum, EPAM systems. Ta-dum, ta-dum. So any kind of accent, any kind of amplification. Next one, velocity of your speech. Speed. Just you can pronounce this phrase like satisfy our customer with EPAM system service. You can pronounce it a little bit slower than another phrases. As an example, you see, dear customers, you can ask, how can EPAM system satisfy our customers' needs? Of course, it's a question very big and everybody can ask this question, but we know that satisfying our customer needs, EPAM systems earn additional points on the market. And blah blah blah. So, making this phrase a little bit slower, pronouncing this phrase a little bit not so fast. You can, additional way, make the pauses between words, before and afterwards, just a little bit bigger. Like, typically your workflow of your speech might be rather fast, like I now try to make an example here, but at any proper moment you can make a pause, tell your viral phrase, and continue again rather fast without those pauses. Next, the flexibility of your voice. What does it mean? Difference between the lower and higher tone you usually produce by talking. What does it mean? When you just tell a story with your friends in a pub, or when you just communicating by phone with your mom, you have any kind of special, typical for this type of communication, distance between your lower tone you use and higher tone you use. Like one person can try to communicate with everybody approximately the way I'm showing you right now, when no, almost no different, no higher, no lower tone, almost the same tone. Another person can make this delta really big, goes from upper tone to really low one. So the idea is just to spread this distance between low and upper tone. You can say something like on small distance, small difference, and while pronouncing your key phrase, make this distance much bigger, and then come back to normal tone without very big difference. I don't want to give you the clown techniques because it's more acceptable for face-to-face training. Gesture, voice, poses, emotional pattern in your head. Of course, another part of body language is your face. So, exercises for your face. Making stupid face in front of mirror. It makes your face and all your muscles of your face, all the facial mobility more flexible, more emotional. And if you really believe in your phrase, or if you think that you have to believe this phrase while communicating with your customers, you can put those emotions into your phrase just by using your emotions. Just make it more emotional, in more emotional way, using your face. If someone of you don't know how, you're welcome to come to face-to-face training. So to order face-to-face training, I can come, I can have a business trip to a location. Or you're welcome to do it by yourself. Open the video of George Carlin. Could you please put +1 into chat if you know who is George Carlin and if you have ever seen George Carlin videos. And try to repeat George Carlin's way of using his facial mobility. Pay attention, you don't need to do it during your training, during your speech, during your job. You need it only for trainings. It's the same as your gym, trainings in gym. You see, in gym you need to push any kind of heavy weights, candles or anything, but you don't need to do it in life. In life you need a beautiful big muscles and beautiful figure, or just to feel your body health. So the same with George Carlin. Practice with George Carlin. You can choose another great speaker if you don't like George Carlin. It's up to you. I just know that George Carlin, he's a great artist. And his genre is a speaker on the stage. Of course, it's stand-up comic. But anyway, he's just a speaker on the stage. Repeating while doing personal trainings his facial mobility, you can make your own facial mobility more flexible. You can develop your facial mobility so all the communications might become a little bit more emotional. So all emotions, like positive emotion according to the topic of your communication with customer, will become bigger, more. And remember, emotions, much bigger than logic. Emotions is the responsibility of, I'm not sure in English pronunciation, limbic, I suppose limbic system of our brain. So it's not the cover of our brain, not the gray substance of our brain, but it's a white substance. So emotions, this kind of amount of emotions in all human brains are much bigger than logic. So emotions are always stronger. No matter, no sexist thinkings about like emotions is for women or emotions for someone else, I don't know. Please forget about it, it's stupid. Emotions is the main purpose for everybody, for normal, typical humans to have decision. Almost everybody firstly have decision by emotions then they can use logic to ensure themselves. Pay attention. If you come to prison and ask someone, why are you sitting there, those criminals, they will explain anything about why did he have to do something, have to steal or kill someone or anything to do their crime. Emotionally, they absolutely believe that they are innocent. That's emotion. They have a lot of reasons, a lot of explanations why they were right in their criminal situation. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember, emotions are for typical humans on the first position. If you have zero of emotions, you can believe your logic. If you are kind of, do you know Sheldon Cooper, this character from the Big Bang Theory movie? So only Sheldon Cooper. It's kind of, it's just character. It's comic character from rather stupid movie. So we have some kind of comments. Could you please let me a little bit read? Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for your comments. So, enforcing, just believe in your main phrase. Main phrase that, and pay attention that usually that main phrase, ideal main phrase, absolutely correctly answers. Okay. Firstly, let's go back to whiteboard. Do you remember beginning of our Tuesday session when we decided it's a good idea, decided our goals, and we have discovered our side goal, and then we our company, IPAM. It was private, it was manifest, and so on, and then we tried to turn it back to the side of customer. So what is a side goals of our customer? What is private goals of our customer? Was it manifested? One more idea. Do they tell you their manifested goals or really side goals? But coming back to our topic, coming back to enforcement of main message of your speech, main message of your communication session with your customer. Go into enforcement. Ideal main message of communication you have developed should cover both your side's goals and all goals of your customer. I'm talking about ideal version of message, of your main message of your presentation. So, if you see that your main message of presentation covers both your side and customer goals, great. If it's true, perfect, you are happy. But if it's not true, you have two choices. Two options. First option, to walk again, to find better main message. Or another option, not so honest, is to try to present this message as best one and to forget that this message is not really the best one. So please be really careful with such situation. And for you it's much better to think more clever, more time, put more effort and develop better main message. Is it clear for you? Please, ask some question, please, speak up. Okay? One more thing, almost last thing about your main message. Talking about my message, I'm talking about the same as your viral message, because for you and for us, for our company, for IPAM, it's profitable to put this viral message into mind, into memories of our person we communicate with. It might be different viral message like IPAM is always good. Because the person who had business with EPAM and who remembers that EPAM is always good can bring us more clients. More clients for us, it's more business for EPAM, higher wages for you, faster your faster career for you within EPAM. So, your viral message, it's a great possibility to fulfill our site, our EPAM goals. Fulfilling of our EPAM goals is a great possibility for you to fulfill your private goals. And of course, remember about manifested goals, because manifested should look really honest, should really look very good for both you, EPAM, and customer, especially if you talk about clever customer. So, coming back to our viral message, one more idea is to repeat viral message. So, if you have viral message consists of 3 words, 1 word, second, third, you're welcome just to tell your viral message as a manifest, as kind of slogan, as logo, as something kind of, this is beautiful phrase in commercials and advertisement. Normal people just filter it, and it's okay. When you go near, I'm sorry for this product placement, when you go near the, for example, big board with commercial of Coca-Cola, you can read this, always Coca-Cola, this phrase, and you usually don't think about it. You can just allow that to go near your mind and forget about it. But everybody of you remember this viral message because you had heard it for 1,000 times, all the time. So normal people filter it, and you are absolutely welcome. Use techniques of putting this phrase everywhere. When it put as a beautiful start, a beautiful finish, or phrase like, ladies and gentlemen, let me please take just 5 minutes of your attention to tell you why EPAM is the best partner for your business. You see, EPAM is the best partner for your business. It's a viral phrase. So, first, put this phrase separately. Second level, to put this, it's kind of just sentence in your text. Put this viral phrase in the middle of sentence. You can put it in a questions. Like, a lot of people think, why do EPAM is the best decision for your business? And actually for us, there is an answer. The answer is blah, 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 blah. And now you can put, talking about answer, you can put all the logic. But the main idea here is to put this viral phrase somewhere in the middle of sentence. Just to repeat again. So the idea is the same as for workers context for oh my god, how do they call it, this creation of context on website? I don't remember this. SEO optimization, yes, search engine optimization, yes, all this search engines optimization. So the main idea is to generate this phrase and to put it somewhere. Inside sentences, outside sentences, as a beginning, as a continuation, into questions, into comments, and to continue to tell it more and more different, using different pronunciation. Sometimes just hide it. So, do you remember first idea was to enforce the meaning of that phrase by changing the way you tell it, changing the way you behave, changing the way you use your body language. But there is also absolutely opposite idea. Do not change your behavior, do not change your body language, do not change your verbal level of communication, paraverbal communication level, so your voice, and the phrase will come through the conscious filter of your customer, not customer, but your person you communicate with, and it can go exactly to subconscious mind. If that phrase will be fixated in subconscious mind, next time this person can think by themselves and this phrase will appear from his or her subconscious mind into mine, and this person can think this phrase as their personal phrase. Do you remember this movie in Inception, yes, Inception, whereas a new movie 2 or 3 years ago with Leonardo DiCaprio. That's exactly about it, but it's fantasy movie, it's science fiction, but it works. Usually it works. Like always Coca-Cola, the same. Pay attention. If your customer is a little bit clever, your customer can find and see. The person you communicate with can understand this way of manipulation a little bit. So please be careful. Don't do it in stupid way. Please do it only if you're absolutely sure that in your situation it's acceptable. Dear colleagues, could you please comment these ideas, could you please comment these techniques, and could you please add something if you wish to? Several seconds for your comments, for objections of course, for debating, and so on.
I have one question.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Let's assume that I tried this technique with some customer and he understood that he was being manipulated, right? So what shall I do in that case?
First of all, there is kind of phrase in Russian language about two fishermen who always understand very one another. So the one who understands those techniques usually is the person who knows those techniques. So at least you and that person are on the same page. You're the ones who know about those techniques. So first of all, don't feel it's like fail. It's not exactly fail. Second, if that person shows you in strict way, in an understandable, clear and present way that that person had discovered this enforcing and persuasion techniques from you, you're welcome to just say, oh, I'm sorry. It's not always, it's just another way what to do with the situation. Another way, one more way, if you're a good actor, just to say, I'm sorry, I always tell that. I don't know what you're talking about. So just play the person, play the stupid guy. Try to play the stupid guy who don't understand what I'm talking about. It's just typical phrases, it's just typical building of phrases our speechwriters proposed us. So you are welcome to create any kind of speechwriters who, in this situation, according to the story, create those speeches for you. So I just believe that EPAM will help you. I really believe it. That's it. You see, why the techniques is so profitable, why the techniques is so effective? They're not really absolutely effective. If they were absolutely effective, everybody would use those techniques all the time, but it's not so often. That is why not such a lot of people use it. But usually, persons who know those techniques, they feel another person who knows the techniques as the same one, like we are the ones who understand it. And typically, if your partner can recognize those techniques, your partner shouldn't make a kind of note about it. Just remember. So for you, it's kind of tricky task, like a next level, tricky task to understand when your person you communicate with had explored your speech and understand that you use those techniques. And remember, person who really believe in your message, main message, who really feel that it's true, it's honest, that person will use this phrase all the time. So we can use the techniques because everybody who really believe in this phrase do it and use it, but just in subconscious way. That is why I can propose you to use this technique of persuasion, because people who really believe in their thoughts, they use the techniques themselves. That's it. So 3 ways. First, forget about it, don't think about it, it's okay if your customer had discovered this technique. Second, just tell sorry and please please look confused a little bit. And third one, looks absolutely confused, like, I'm sorry, I don't know, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I just use text, I just have learned text our speechwriters gave us and so on. So it's for fail situation. Is it clear, understandable for you? What do you think? Can it work, or do anyone have another ideas on such situation? What to do?
Yes, it was a good answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And what to do if I discovered it when this person did it comparing to me?
Great. Perfect. I love that question. Absolutely love. That's a great possibility for you to start difficult chess, yes, this game with figures on a table, chess session. You see this persuasion technique from person you communicate with. Please don't discover it. Please just remember. Please analyze those techniques and please make a big red marker. He tried to persuade me in something, he tried to manipulate me. Please put a red marker, and now when you see this way of persuasion, this technique, using this technique on you, when you understand that someone knows those techniques and can use those techniques, you can communicate with this person a little bit on a little bit new level. Please don't show that you discover such techniques. Please don't break it in a strict and rude way. You don't need it usually. In a case, you see, the profitable situation for you, the most benefits you can receive if you can hide that you have just discovered the manipulative techniques according you, regardless to you, and don't allow those techniques works. So please think carefully about information. Start to filter every word of person you communicate with. Now you have profit. Now you have additional benefit. Now you know that person you communicate with can use some kind of techniques. Knowing that, you can stop more additional techniques, maybe techniques you don't know. You can discover it by more exact filtering of his or her words. Is it clear, understandable for you what to do if you see the use of such techniques on you?
Yeah, thanks.
That's it. Great. Colleagues, so that was the point about enforcing the thoughts. And you see, let me please be absolutely honest with you. Sometimes, in any kind of special negotiations, that enforcement techniques can be used by not so honest people. Be careful with that, it's very typical in our life. It's a real life. Welcome to the real world, Neo. It's typical like trading or communication price on any kind of, Arabic bazaar. You can come and see beautiful, any kind of beautiful stuff and ask, what is the price for the stuff? And the sailor can say, $100. And you can say, oh, it looks very bad and old and dirty. I can give you $5, $80. Oh, I have only $10, $20. Okay, 20. $20. 4 times higher than you tried for the first time, 5 times cheaper than sailor tried for the first time. At the same time, you can say, not this person who traded, he said, I have only $10. It's liar, it's absolutely liar, because he had at least $20 to buy. So please remember, it's a real life. So sometimes those techniques works even when it's not really honest words. Please be absolutely prepared. I just want to ask you, be absolutely prepared and be absolutely honest with your people you communicate with. But remember that sometimes not so honest people can use those techniques. I think that's all for that moment. You have 10 seconds to ask questions or to make kind of feedback or, of course, debate something. And we can go, if not, we can go to next techniques. You're welcome, 10 seconds. Now, if you don't mind, we can talk a little bit about the trolling. What does it mean? It's not about web trolls or forum trolls and so on. It's, as I told you, it's about challenging behavior. Behavior of your public when behavior of your public is, audiences, behavior of your audience is unacceptable for you. Let's clarify. It's you, as a negotiator, as a product manager. It's your customer. And your customer can communicate with you, can ask just normal, typical questions. And you can easily answer those questions because you are an expert. Great. This situation, just questions. Customer can give you direct instructions what to do. Great. You can easily accept it. Yeah. Typical instructions like specification and so on. Sometimes when you propose something, when you discuss some kind of more challenging issues, a little bit more challenging issues, your customer can use any kind of objections, can debate something with you, like, we're not sure we need it, or we're not sure we have enough budget. Can we do it in a little bit another way? Great. You're welcome to use an objection. Sometimes customer don't really know what to choose, like customer not an expert. It's very typical when customer is not an expert in IT technologies, yeah? It's for you, it's very typical. But you are experts usually. So you know what is better. Sometimes you know better than customer. And in a case if you had already used all logical ways to ensure your customer, you have already used all, you have already discussed all ideas and so on, but customer is still not really sure. You can use enforcing of your ideas, like emotional, something like, please do believe me, it's a good idea, it brings you more money. And customer can sometimes, okay, I believe you, it's okay, yeah, let's do it. But imagine yourself, very fairy tale situation, very bad situation with customer start to become rude or aggressive. By the way, it is very, it's please, no, I shouldn't say that. Please, let me know, have you ever met customers that allow themselves not so polite behavior, that allow themselves sometimes rude words, maybe screaming on you or your representatives, maybe kind of negating of your efforts, maybe sometimes verbal attacks on you, so you felt exhausted after communication with customer. Your programmers felt themselves stupid or felt themselves kind of beaten by someone, like beaten. Could you please make +1 in the chat if you had such situation? Last situation, absolutely real situation I met was approximately, actually I think it's still actual situation. It were in Homel, in Belarus, city of Homel. They had a customer who really used very not beautiful words, something like, hey, I pay you, you have to work. No, your ideas are stupid, my ideas. So it's a client from hell, very typical client from hell. I see no +1s in chat, so thanks God. You're working with good customers, if it's true. Thanks God. You are happy, lucky you. But last situation took place in Homel. Last situation I worked with took place in Homel, and I have heard about the situation 3 months ago, 4 months, maybe 4 months ago. So, imagine yourself, you meet in such a situation. What to do? First idea, stop. Don't allow yourself show your emotions. Because this challenging behavior usually very often have any special target, any special aim. Target is you, and the aim is to put yourself to the uncomfortable zone. Try to come back to take a break. Try to go to another time when customer will be more acceptable, more ready to communicate in polite way. Now let's stop at that point, and I'll propose you one special techniques, verbal techniques of creating, of feeling of unification of you and your customer. It's you, it's your customers. Technique of we phrases. So the idea is typically group of your customers feel themselves as one side, and you as EPAM is another side. So they feel that there is a distance between you, any kind of distance. What to do? Use phrases. Forget about phrases like I would like to tell you about. I mean exact phrases in your speech. Now we're talking about rhetorical building of phrases in your speech. Forget about phrases I would like to tell you. Would you please be so kind to tell me? And so on. But build those phrases based on we. Phrases like, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the situation. Or, ladies and gentlemen, we met very interesting issue. Both you and me, like we, not we as EPAM, but we all together. Or phrases like, ladies and gentlemen, today we can discuss very interesting situation with our project we do for you. So we psychologically build situation when you and your customer, all who is here, who present, you as one team. You as one team. Actually, it's medical situation, at least in English and Russian, at least in territory around Europe. It's medical situation when you just start using these we phrases and people start feeling yourself as one of big team, so everybody is a member of the team. So it's phase A, just preliminary phase of creation of unification, just phrases using of we sentence instead of I or you, and so on and so on and so on. Is it clear enough? Could you please +1 or command it by voice? Now, next step. Imagine yourself that there is a troll appears in this group, the one who starts to communicate with you in a rude way, who start to maybe scream on you, who start to maybe allow any kind of phrase is not so acceptable, any kind of unacceptable behavior. At that moment, so first phase was we sentence. Second way, another sentence, something like we, but you, but him. Phrases like, oh, I'm sorry, Mikhail, but we are here with all the team, we work together on the issue of our project, and your comments, they look so rude and so, how to say, not so really polite. Don't you mind if we can keep all together on a polite level, on a professional level, if it's okay for you, of course. Guys, it depends on situation, you know your customer, but this construction, we but you, sometimes, at least during public speaking, always during public speaking, creates situation when trolls feel themselves separated from another group. And sometimes even this group start to walk, to feel this troll like someone else, some not so good guy. And that's very positive situation to neutralize this troll, this challenging behavior guy. First, using phrases like we, you can do it always, all the time. Second, using phrases like we but you personally do something not so good. We all together are good, but you personally do something not so good, and your personal feeling of this phrase. You should use it only in a case if you're really meeting the challenging behavior of someone in the public. And be careful. This technique is not working when your public is any kind of team itself. It's not working when your public is teams that have to work with one another. In that case, they in any way will support one of them, even if he is troll and so on and so on. So please use these techniques mostly for public speaking, not for communication with joint team of kind of customers. So be careful with the techniques. But is it clear enough for you? Could you please ask some questions or clarify something if you wish?
Okay, so thank you, Alexei, for your explanation. But the question is, let's assume that we are working with a team, with customer team. So how we should behave in order to prevent rude attitude to presenter?
Great. So first, be prepared to keep it inside yourself till the end of first attempt. So if you see any kind of trolling behavior, challenging behavior from one for the first time, please keep calm, at least for the first time. Afterwards, the right way is to communicate with your boss and their boss. For example, team usually have kind of interest in you as EPAM. It's logical, it's typical, it's business logic. They put some money to EPAM to receive any kind of result. If there is trolling, you can show that the trolling destroys the process of communication. The trolling is an obstacle. Typically, right approach is to negate and resolve any kind of obstacles in the way of communication. If this guy is an obstacle of good communication, if this guy is a kind of obstacle of good mood for your programmers, you have to deal with that. The good way is to communicate with your boss. The good way also is to communicate with their boss. Like, I'm really sorry, but in team, and not with this guy, not with team, but with person who is responsible for this team, like maybe CEO or something. I'm really sorry, absolutely honestly, without any kind of sarcasm. It's not about sarcasm. Dear Mr. Smith, the issue is during last 2-3 sessions of communication, one of your specialists allowed himself kind of not so polite phrases that really influenced on the mood of our programmers. I'm sorry, but it isn't so polite, it isn't tactful. I don't know, maybe it's kind of typical for him, or maybe it's typical, but if it's not so typical, if it's not supported by a company's regulations, what can you recommend? Is it okay for your company? I don't know, because you can say something like that. It depends on the situation. Change this phrase for your situation. You can even sometime, okay, yeah. So one way, try to tell about it with your boss, try to tell about it with their bosses. Sometimes their bosses or your boss is not satisfied with such situation because typically bosses want good results for less money. If programmers can't work because of kind of behavior of some kind of them, sometimes then can decide to change that person to another one. If not, if bosses tell you to, not my problem, he's a great specialist, I believe him. If he have kind of bad questions for you, please answer the questions. In that case, it's a bad situation, so I suppose you have to deal with that. In that case, it's better to start psychological approach. So allow yourself to put off all the negative feelings after every talking session. It might be in a very funny way. You might make a big picture of this guy, the stroll guy, and after every meeting, online meeting, come to a special room, dark room in your office, and beat this picture of this guy. You see, in Japan it's very typical, like tall of Muppet of boss, and every employee can come to special room where it's Muppet of boss with face of boss and beat and do anything with this Muppet to put stress out of their minds. Because it's stressful situation, it's typical stressful situation. So, escalation. Escalation is right way. The trolling is not really a right way. The trolling is kind of hidden and cheating way. It's a way that can help you when escalation not works, and getting stress out also not works in any way. That exactly was my comments to the situation in Homel, by the way. So they had the possibility to do something with this trolling guy from customer team. So it was really difficult situation. So the only idea they discovered and tried, and that was really good, they decided to come together after every meeting when the trolled them. They went together to kitchen for half an hour with tea, with everything, and they started to discuss this bad guy, letting all the stress went out. So finally, after half an hour meeting and half an hour distress session, they were pretty okay to work, to continue, and new information were accepted, so it was pretty okay. What do you think? Can those ideas, can those recommendations work with your situation, or you need additional ones? Hello?
No, thank you. I just muted my microphone. You covered all bases. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, honestly, there are a lot of additional issues, there are a lot of another ideas, but just I can start to tell those ideas, but it would take 1 hour or more what to do in such situation. In brief, you can personally talk with the troll, with this guy, personally, not with group, but personally. I'm sorry, dear friend, but your comments looks not so polite. Excuse me, please, for this, but can you please be a little bit more polite, because we need to work together more and more. We need to continue our project. We have 5 years of our on personal communication. Next one, exploring of personal file. It could look funny, but it's a very old way of exploring kind of trolls. From Peter the Great in Russian Empire, in military, in army, they usually explore the personal file of every soldier, of every kind of officer, to recognize what can this guy do for us. So explore his Facebook page, explore his kind of LinkedIn page, explore his Twitter and so on. Maybe you can find the reason of his trolling. Maybe he have just reason. Maybe he had this guy really have very bad day yesterday. It's, of course, it's not a professional. Remember, guys, professional behavior is not to allow trolling during communication. But you, as EPAM professionals, sometimes can meet non-professional behavior from our customers. And you, as a great specialist, as a great product managers, you have to show your own professional behavior. So, keep calm. Keep calm, breathe out, and explore the situation. Find the situation. please calm your employees, calm your team members. If your team members feel stressed, it's your own responsibility as a bosses. It's your responsibility as a team leaders or as product managers. So take a breath, take exhale, calm down, and start thinking what to do. What is better? To talk to the easiest way, the easiest and first way. Talk to your teammate personally. Like come and tell, he had a bad day, he's stupid, please relax. Let's try to work with it. Next level, talk to troll itself. Like call personally or email, I'm really sorry, but your behavior, not sorry. Guys, if he is a top manager, it's not working. So please go to the next idea or go back to idea of communication with your team members. But one of ideas, go to this troll personally. Next idea is to escalate this problem. Escalate it. And only after all these good ways, you can try bad ways. Bad ways like trolling tactics, another trolling tactic. Bad ways like using also preliminary phrases. Next technique I wanted to show you. Dear colleagues, is it clear for you that good techniques are much better than bad techniques at that moment? Could you please +1 or comment it by just speak by voice? No reaction. Hello, I see 30 participants in the list. I would be really appreciative for everybody of you, please, right now. Please put +1 in the chat. Right now.
Take a look. There are a lot of +1s.
Sorry? Okay.
Tons of +1s.
Oh my God, yeah, we have communication, yes. That's it, great. Thank you so much. Because I had kind of, my picture hangs out for a moment, so I didn't saw last message. Okay guys, let me please read those messages during next break. I think we can propose next break rather soon. But now one more techniques from the trolling. Is it okay? Techniques from the trolling. One more. I'm sure I can answer your questions if you have ones. But if you have very hot questions, you're welcome to tell by voice. Please just interrupt me, unmute yourself, interrupt me and tell by voice if you have hot and fast questions. So, next idea, how to deal with some any special kinds of trolls, any special kind of challenging behavior, is preliminary phrase, something like troll me. It's just a beautiful kind of name of techniques, so it's not exact phrase, of course not, guys. But you can build a phrase and put this phrase at the beginning, as a starting position of your speech, of your communication. It could be phrased something like, dear colleagues, in a case if you have really challenging issues, if you have any kind of objections, I would be really grateful if you can tell it primarily. I really need it. I really need your challenge, your reaction. If you do public speaking, you can say, if you want to argue with me, if you want to debate about something, you're welcome. We need it because we are searching for truth. We're searching for truth, so we have to find it. So, phrase, something like, if you want to argue, you're welcome. We're really ready because your debates with us, your objections with us will allow us to discover the real needs. You see, in that case, first of all, you prepare yourself for trolling. Second of all, you prepare all your team members for trolling. If they understand, if they see why do you tell, it's better to combine, to take together all your team members and say, guys, it might be also sometimes of trolling or challenging behavior, so please be prepared. We are specialists. We are polite and tactful persons, so please keep yourself polite and tactful. Thank you very much. Preliminary. During communication, You tell this phrase, like, troll me, debate with me, argue with me, you're welcome. And you see what the most funny? After that phrase, if everybody had heard that phrase, when someone from your customer's team start to troll you or to debate you, to argue with you, it would look like he do what you asked them to do. It would look like you asked them to troll, they started to troll. Be careful. That phrase sometimes can motivate them to do challenging behavior. So it's better not to use this phrase if you're afraid of challenging behavior. But this phrase itself, prepare yourself, prepare your team. It's kind when you go to boxing ring, you're ready to be beaten by another boxer. When there's another boxer on the street or in your EPAM office, you're not expecting that, so you can be shocked and confused by beaten by boxers. But on the boxing ring, it's acceptable. So, if you really expect trolling or any kind of changing behavior, you can tell this magical phrase, guys, you're welcome to troll us, you're welcome to argue with us, you're welcome to debate, you're welcome to propose your questions, challenging questions, primarily because we need challenging questions. Yes, we love it. You see, telling yourself, it's kind of personal motivation. Telling yourself, I mean everybody of you, and I mean to your team members also. Telling yourself, we love to be trolled. We love to challenge the challenging question. We love to kind of verbal boxing. So let's do it. Let's. You allow your people you communicate with to troll you. And after that, firstly, all trollings from them would be acceptable, would be expectable, would be kind of, it's like you ask them to troll you, and second, you are prepared. Let me know, is it clear for you? Do we need to clarify something from this point? Guys, if you allow me, could you please allow me to propose you another break, 5-minute break. Please write in a chat or tell by voice if it's a bad idea, if you're sure that it's a bad idea to make a break. During this break, I will try to read your comments, and if there are some questions I can answer, I would be happy to answer. If there are some questions I cannot answer, I would be happy to tell you I don't know. Okay, 10 minutes break, please. Great. Dear ladies and gentlemen, let's make 10 minutes break. If you have personal question right now, 10 minutes break, perfect, as you wish. If you have personal question right now, you're welcome to ask, and now we're starting 10 minute break. See you in 10 minutes. Stop recording. Yeah, that's it. What do we have here? So, start recording again. Great. Dear colleagues, are you ready to continue? I suppose last part of our meeting for today. So we started with creation of our main phrase, main message. We touched a little bit question of online and phone communications, how to prepare yourself. We had covered the question section. We had talked a bit about objection and working with that, about enforcing your phrase, making more emotionally memorable, making more valuable in discussion, making more, giving it more weight, more gravity, social gravity. A little bit about the trolling. We didn't take really strong techniques of the trolling because thanks God in your typical good behavior you couldn't meet very difficult situations. But I have put a link, not link but name of book in the chat. Please let me know, have you seen, do you see this my link, not link but just name of book and author. You are welcome to read if you need to know a little bit more about verbal attacks and black rhetoric. One more, just last one more technique from the trolling, very typical one. I call it technique of hammer, big and heavy hammer. Technique goes also it's much better during public speaking when there are not only your target group but also your public, another kind of audience or audience, different kind of audience. So the main idea of the techniques is to repeat again your main message sentence. In a case, if someone asking questions that, for example, try to show the bad sides of EPAM company, questions that try to show EPAM as not so good company. Imagine yourself question, like not question even, you're kind of communicating with a team, like maybe press sale or just sale or negotiation, and one of members of this team drops phrase like, I have heard that EPAM looked very weak on the stock last year. Or phrase like, my friend was a client of EPAM and the project was fucked up and the project was failed in a horrible way. See, just this kind of criticizing, not direct criticizing, they don't say, hey, you bad, no. They just drop the phrase that goes somewhere outside of your communication, just comment. And that is why it's so difficult to deal with such comment. So the main idea of hammer technique is just in calm way, just rather slowly, just absolutely in absolutely self-confident way, just to repeat your main message phrase, or maybe not main message phrase, but phrase created to show EPAM from best side. For example, phrase like, ladies and gentlemen, all the numbers says that till now EPAM is the most valuable partner for your business. Or phrase like, we have a lot of criticizing, but everybody knew that right now, these days, EPAM is the most relevant partner for business like yours. If you make such kind of comments, not targeted into you, into your public or anywhere, not a question, so you cannot take it and deal with it directly, you can use techniques of hammer. Just repeat beautiful phrase about EPAM reputation. That's it. Dear colleagues, I wanted to... Yeah, it's difficult to deal with that. Let me please know. There is last technique of trolling I can allow to tell about right now. It's a technique of avoiding not so comfortable questions. Please let me know, do you want to know these techniques? When there are comfortable questions and you decide not to answer that question, how to avoid such question and how to not to answer it. Please let me know by chat, just type in chat your answer. But all the time, during the next 60 seconds, I propose you to remember, if you have any type of comment or question, please remember that it's a really good idea to first tell thank you for that comment, no matter comment, a question or something, so be appreciated for that comment. And secondly, to evaluate that comment. Say the great comment. Say great comment or great question or very good question. Just say those phrases. Good comment, thank you very much, great comment. Why? First of all, telling thank you, you show that comments are valuable for you, that you have interaction, it's good for interaction, so you motivate person to make additional comments and questions. Even if that comment looks some kind of, you see, rude or trolling and so on. If you say thanks to rude or trolling question, you show yourself as a EPAM representative much more polite and much more professionally clever than the one who dropped that comment into you. Second, to evaluate. Why do we need to evaluate this question? Usually, a typical comment or question try to put comment or commenters of our question a little bit above speaker. So like comment like, oh, your presentation was pretty boring. Oh, you see, your presentation is rather funny, thank you. It's putting themselves on a little bit higher position than you, a department employee. But if you say, thank you for your comment, yeah, it's a good comment, it's really pleasant and useful comment, you put yourself on a position above the comment back. So it's not the commenter, it's the guy who is responsible of evaluating you as a speaker. No, opposite, it's you as a speaker is the one who have right to evaluate the commenters. So, thank you, it was a great comment, or you can say, thank you very much, it was an awful comment, or it's a funny comment, it's awkward comment, up to you. But the main idea why do we have to thank and evaluate those comments is just to earn a little bit more time. While you telling, thank you, that was great comment, you see such comments allow me to keep our level of conduction of presentation in really high, so thank you for possibility to train ourselves, our art of black rhetoric on your comment. So the answer is blah blah blah. You earned approximately 15 to 20 seconds of thinking on questions, on answer you are going to provide. Dear colleagues, I think I have again handed link so I can see your comments in the chat. Could you please tell me that you hear me, or tell me, put any kind of +1 into chat to understand that you are still here. I can see 32 participants, but I'm not sure that you can see. Great. Thank you so much. So everybody's here. Perfect. So looks like we don't need right now these techniques of avoiding question. Techniques of rhetorical aikido I proposed you, and I proposed you to answer, do you need or not? So a little bit more about persuasion. Persuasion of our person we communicate with, changing minds and so on. Now, tricky techniques, a little bit kind of they use psychological features of people's mind. They use emotions. They sometimes use confusing ideas and confusing logic to let person choose the decision you want them to choose. Please be careful, and I would be really happy if you can tell me like about situation when those techniques was used against you. I would be really appreciative. And I would propose you several techniques, rather famous and rather effective at the same time, till rather effective. So there are hundreds and hundreds of techniques, a lot of practical cases for special events, for special people, for special ages, for special genders of people, for special sex, for special mind, for special ethnicity, and so on. So we just can take some of them. Let's start from very famous technique, alternative alternativization of question. What does it mean? First one. Alternativization. First one. Instead of question, what do you prefer to choose? You build question, do you prefer option 1 or option 2? So, not a lot of options, but just 2 options. Options 1 or option 2. It's something like, it's very famous. In a very rude way, it could be something like, you can choose. You prefer to work with EPAM or you prefer to make full crash of your business, to see full crash of your business. You see, it's very dramatic way, so a little bit not so dramatic. Example, you're welcome to choose. You want to sign contract today or you prefer to sign contract tomorrow? Or, up to you what to choose. You can use contract in this form, like we propose you, or you are welcome to put any kind of specification to the contract, add some details, and we can sign it tomorrow. Yeah. So the main idea is not to ask what option do you prefer to choose, but to allow your person to communicate with 2, maybe 3 options, highly knowing that every option is comfortable for you and for your partner. Great. Colleagues, I would really appreciate you for any kind of comments, but we are going to next one.
Could you clarify, can you provide another example of number 1?
Sorry, please repeat it again.
Could you provide another example of number 1?
Okay, another example. Rather workable example. Imagine yourself, you as a product manager can do this project into several ways. You're welcome to choose pretty good way, not in communication, but in preparing for communication. Choose one way that is really good for your team, that is good for business, that is beautiful, and choose another way that is long, expensive, and not so good for business. It's a very old marketing rule. Propose one good and several or one bad options to customer, and customer will choose a good option and would be happy. Please do not ever try to propose several approximately same options, because customer is not an expert. Customer don't know what to choose. Customer becomes feel uncomfortable. Customer feels really bad and bad emotions and so on. And customer cannot make choice. So you know the project. The idea is create good options. Good, I mean, for you and for customer and for end user. Choose bad options, and if you really want to look honest, propose also some kind of middle options and shows. We have three options, like best case scenario from our point of view, middle case scenario, and worst case scenario. Which do you prefer? And customer can choose. Best case, if he's like clever like you. Customer, if he's kind of a little bit ambitious or have its own ideas or something, can choose some kind of another option. But you have to be sure that you can do any kind, you can realize any kind of option. Okay, and another example. Very stupid example. You're going in the park, you meet this, you see, ice cream seller, someone who sells ice cream, and he meets you. The day is hot. You go to this ice cream seller, and ice cream seller asks you, what do you prefer, the strawberry ice cream or vanilla ice cream? And very typical situation when automatically customer choose vanilla or strawberry, depends on situation, but actually we can see, if we stop the situation and start to explore it, we can see that we have banana ice cream, we have, I don't know, blackberry ice cream, and a lot of different ice creams. But maybe this seller have his own idea why do he prefer to sell vanilla or strawberry ice cream. Let me please know, is it clear enough, or you need a little bit more clarification or examples?
Nope, that was good. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one. You're clever. I don't know. Rich or boss or decision maker or anything. The meaning of the technique is to put your person you communicate with to create him situation of comfortable feeling, showing obvious advantages of his position or life or again anything. So say something. You are the leader of great companies, a great corporation, and you're the one who pay money. So anything you decide, we can do. So the end of the example. Or another example. Or dear rich man, could you please give some money to poor beggar? You are rich one, I'm poor. You have possibility to help me, I have no possibility to help you. Could you please be so? So, show your person you communicate with advantages of his position. It's kind of compliment. By the way, compliment is one more technique. Kind of compliment that shows that he really has this advanced position, he has money, he owns big company or something. So this guy or lady or anyone, so this person can be more kind to you as just small representative of IT company, kind of servants. We are the ones, we are just realized as developers of your website. You are owner of big company, we are just developers of your website. So it can put person you communicate with into a very comfortable situation, comfortable position, like, yeah, actually, yes, I am the one. So I can let this guy to decide what to do by themselves. I can allow myself, I have enough money for that, and so on. Could you please let me know, is it? Thank you for last comment, you're absolutely right about this alternative method. Yeah. So, talking about second one, this feeling of comfortable situation will, maybe not will, but might make person you communicate with, for example, your customer, be more kind, more feel better at the beginning or at the middle of your communication session, and that will create more positive emotions toward you, positive emotions about EPAM, positive emotions about your product, and that is kind of additional emotional way to let them feel more comfortable about how the situation is going on. Let me please know, is it clear enough? Can we go further or we need to discuss it? Please, someone who can hear me.
We can continue.
Thank you. Thank you. Next one. Luck. Another situation that makes people, of course, it's a little bit another way, yes, in this situation, lack of resources, lack of any kind of, I don't know, money or time or anything. You can feel now that those persuasion techniques is a techniques that go through emotions, techniques that can be destroyed by calm feeling, by time break and so on. So I recommend you to use those techniques only in really difficult situation. You see, remember, best way for you, really great way, is to create good project in successful way and then present that project in successful way to happy customer. That's the best way. But if you feel that the situation is not really so positive according to you and EPAM, you're welcome to make it, to save it a little bit, using those techniques, techniques of persuasion. So, examples of those techniques. Imagine yourself, sorry, but we have only limited time, I have to go to another meeting, blah, blah, blah. Let's choose the most important positions to discuss. Important positions. Everything else let's discuss later. Bye. Bye bye. In the case if it is kind of profitable for you. Another example. In communication with customer. Dear customer, right now we hired very good developer in, I don't know, C#, I don't know, Java, JavaScript. It's a lead developer guy who is going to have promotion in 2 months. So next 2 months he is just lead developer, and in 2 months he will become a, okay, let's sell project manager. And the hour of his work would cost much more. So right now we have great possibility to make more job and to give it to him because he's really talented. Okay, let's change a little bit positions. He is really great senior developer. In 2 months he will become a team lead, and 1 hour of his job would cost not, I don't know, $30 but $40, and the cost of project can become more bigger. So, if it's possible, could you please give us more specification, more vision, more stories, what to do, and to give him maximum amount of job right now while he's so cheaper. Yeah. One more example for HRs, or maybe for you when you can find any kind of great developer, not in EPAM, but kind of outside of EPAM developer, and you would be happy to hire him. Of course, it's not your job, I suppose, but imagine yourself. You're calling this developer and says, hello, Mr. John Smith. Yes, we know that you're really skilled. We know that you search for a good job. But you see, right today we have a great position, especially exactly for your set of skills. We have your resume, we have your CV, and as far as we see on this CV, we have a position exactly for you. But we have another person who pretend to be employed to that position. So could you please decide into several hours till tomorrow morning? Let us know, because we promised another person to give answer till tomorrow. Could you please give us answer as soon as you can and come to our company and blah blah blah. Let me please know, is it clear enough, these techniques for you? What do you think about it? Okay. Could you please put +1 into chat if you know what does it mean, if you know this technique? Okay. But now, could you please put something like minus if you don't know what does it mean and you want me to explain? Please, if anyone don't know what does it mean, could you please put minus or something? Yeah. So, very typical main idea. Imagine yourself. Everybody do that. In advertising, in commercials, in department stores, all your friends already have iPhones. Why the hell you haven't one? It's very typical example from ordinary life. In our conditions, in EPAM versus customer conditions. EPAM, imagine yourself. A lot of great companies use EPAM service like Toyota, Reebok, Expedia, Nike, blah 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 blah, Ford, Renault, I don't know. Yes, so a big list of customers of EPAM. So the main idea of this technique is to show that every company that respects themselves use EPAM service. To show the big list of EPAM customers. Actually, list of EPAM customers is huge and that's great. So, how to use in our presentations? It's very typical and very often way to put a slide with the logos of companies that have already been clients of EPAM. Sorry, do you have any kind of comments? Comment or? Okay, yeah, it's communication about perspectives. Let me please know, is it clear at that moment? Is it understandable and clear? Hello? Okay, clear. Yeah. Next one. Respect. Very close to first one. Every respectable person knows that you have to go to big IT company. Big IT company is a good service. Big IT company is blah blah blah. The end of example. The idea is respect yourself. Go to big company. If you show that you use service of really big and famous company, everybody knows about it. It's good. Your colleagues will know it. Your colleagues will respect you. You see, it's not working this situation when we are hidden player, where no one knows who is the creator of website. But together, you see difference. Social proof shows the amount of clients, but respect proof shows the biggest clients. Imagine yourself, if your company want to be like Nike company, you have to go to EPAM. If you want to be like Toyota company, go to EPAM. Yeah? It's clear? What to add? Force no. Of course, money. One more. Very typical. We have a discount for old customers. You're welcome to order your project in EPAM. You're welcome to become our client, and your next product would be 10% cheaper according to market price. So, very typical for customers, very typical how to tell it during your negotiations. Your customer says that you see everything looks okay, I love your service, but your price is not so good. And you can answer, yeah, maybe right now. But at that moment, unfortunately, that's the lowest price we can agree with. But next year, not year, but month, next month, we have possibility to reduce price of our service. So we can promise you discount next month if you can agree with the price right now. Pay attention. It's not a silver bullet, it's the techniques that can help you at any proper situation. Dear colleagues, there are a lot of another techniques, of course, phrases, like everybody knows, okay, that's also social proof, a lot of versions of those techniques, like typical compliment. It goes to small talks, it goes to official business etiquette in Western countries. It's not so. It's sometimes you can see that it goes to official business etiquette in Asian countries. Like if they have 1 hour to communicate, to negotiate, they spend approximately 45, according to stories, 45 to 50 minutes just discussing what is the weather, how's your house, what do you think about prices to oil on the market, and only last 10 minutes to business. So not a silver bullet. A lot of different small techniques. I would be happy to send you like a big list about, I suppose, oh no, you have it in your handout. Yes, you have this list of 10 techniques in your handout, so you have already received it in Tuesday. Okay, maybe you can find it by yourself. Techniques of negotiation of psychological pressure, negotiations of manipulations. And what do we have here in chat? Let me please check. Okay. Trainer's room. Yeah, by the way, this voices was from my room because we have another meeting outside the wall. So that's it, colleagues. At that moment, that's all I wanted to propose you. There are a lot of details and you can find a lot of information by yourself. And I would be really glad to help you if you can ask questions by email. But let me please know right now, what questions, what clarification, what specification do you have right now? What to specify, what to add? We have half an hour and we can touch the question of eye contact details, some techniques from eye contact. Just to recall you a little bit. Creation of main message, developing of hammer phrase that can cover difficult situations. Eye contact details optionally. Work online and phone. Main ideas. Let your body feel good. Stretch yourself. Make warm up for all your body. Make warm up for all your mouth, for all your mimics. And go to phone communication or Skype communication prepared. Allow yourself to breathe, so stand up. Book a room if you really want to feel comfortable during this communication. Book a room, put your laptop or camera on good position to somewhere on the level of your face and communicate. Allow yourself to be yourself. So, if your body wants to move, move. If your body wants to gesture, gesture. If you have video contact, create gesturing, develop it, but do not develop it during communication, develop it in advance, develop it during training, special training sessions. How many of these questions? In short, if you can answer, I don't know, be brave enough to answer, I don't know. If you know the answer and you can answer it, come on, do it. If you have no right to answer, just say, I have no right to answer, it's logical. In a case, if you have to know the answer, if you're responsible for that, but you don't know the answer, great. It's a fail, it's your fail, so try to avoid that answer. There are several ways, so-called psychological aikido, how to avoid not so good answer. Objections. Have no money, have no time, not a good time, it's not what we need, I'm not the right person. How to deal with it? Stop, calm, don't think it's a rejection, don't start to argue, don't start to enforce, not yet. Do not start to enforce at the same time. Try to clarify the situation. Find the roots of objection. Find the ideas why. Sometimes you can see that really idea you want to propose to clients is not idea for your clients. In that case, it's good to be logic and do not propose a bad idea next time. Next time, you see, sometimes it's even really good when you can propose your client really relevant to him idea, maybe even not so comfortable for EPAM, but if you're sure that next time, because of honesty of your negotiations, honesty of your communications, this client will come to EPAM because those times when EPAM couldn't help, you proposed him good decision. So objections. Enforcing. In a case if your logic fails, or maybe logic is over and you have no logical ways to prove something, but your customer is still not sure, like emotionally not sure, one of ways is to try to use emotional ways to ensure your client, ensure your customer. Just to show that, yeah, I'm absolutely sure that it's right. So your body language, correct body language, controlling of your body language, controlling of your eyes, controlling of your behavior, controlling of everything you have. And using it during your main message phrase. The trolling. In a case if you have challenging behavior, unacceptable behavior, calm, take yourself calm, take yourself self-confident. Do not answer at the moment, never. First way, try to communicate with your team members. Second way, try to communicate with troll person personally. Third way, escalation of conflict. Try to communicate with bosses. Middle ways, try to explore personal profile. Try to explore Facebook page. We know the personal case from our chat. There was a guy on a client's team who was a military person, military officer or something like that, and he was kind of rude all the time. So you see, just knowing that he was in military forces, we can just know that, hey, this guy is rude just because he spent 20 years of his life being rude. So we can try just to keep ourselves calm because he's kind of, you see, person with special abilities, person with special features. It's his own way of communication. So be tolerant, let him be rude, but please, you as a sometimes as a very clever professional guy, be patient, be tactful, be respectful, and continue. Only in very difficult cases, maybe start to use any special techniques. We have some comments. Okay, it's not about, okay, that's it. A little bit about the trolling, and let's touch the psychological aikido, how to avoid uncomfortable questions. Imagine yourself the situation. You have a question, and according to your analysis of situation, you decide not to answer this question at all right now. Maybe you don't know the answer and you don't know to show it. Maybe the answer is not so maybe profitable and good for reputation of you and your company. So first one, it's you, and he's attacking question. What to do? First way, put this question into another time. So phrase like, thank you very much for your question. Unfortunately, at that moment, I have no possibility or no right or no abilities to answer it. I would be really happy to go back to that question a bit later. Or another version. Thank you very much. It's a great question. That's so deep and interesting. But unfortunately, answering this question will take about half an hour. But short answer wouldn't discover it fully. But we have just 5 minutes. So if you don't mind, let's come back personally to me after the end of our communication session. I would be happy to answer it. Okay? Let me please know by chat or by speaking in voice. Is it clear enough? Is this techniques? And can you understand in which situations the techniques goes good for you? Could you please imagine yourself how can you implement such technique and how can work for you, good or bad? You're welcome to ask questions also. Hello? Is there anybody in there?
Yeah, it's clear, but we can't see the faces on the blackboard.
Okay, sorry. This way, I will try. On camera, could you please switch? Is it better?
Too far, and they are not recognizable.
Okay. So?
Oh, better. Yeah, right now better.
I would create another picture. Yeah? Is it visible?
Yeah, but camera refocus it now. Could you please get back?
Here, okay. Okay. I will try. So, next one. Next technique. Can you, yeah, I suppose it's possible to see, yeah?
Yeah.
Next technique, you cannot answer the question. For example, you are not qualified enough. Is to redirect this question or right to answer the question to another person. Doesn't matter if the person happy or not so happy about it. So maybe it's a special person. So you are welcome just to say phrase like, thank you very much, it's a great question, perfect. But unfortunately, I'm not the right person who can answer it, who can reply a question. So I would be really happy to propose Mikhail, who is our technical expert, to answer that question. Yeah, it's very typical when Mikhail is present and he knows the answer. Or a little bit more difficult situation. If there is no Mikhail, but Mikhail exists somewhere in the world, you can say, unfortunately, I'm not the right expert to answer. Unfortunately, the budget of maybe business trip to you was not so big to bring our technical expert, or just he was too busy because he answered such question on a big conference, IT conference in new town. Okay, so just there is a Mikhail who can easily answer this question, but unfortunately he is not present. I would be really happy to take your email address and send you the answer to the question a little bit later, if you don't mind. Could you please give me your email or your business card, blah, 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 blah. Let me please know. Do you see how can you implement the situation in your practical case? This camera looks stupid because now oh yes, much better. Aha, we have a question. Maybe Maybe you can comment on how to keep emotion down, especially in the end of the long day of communication when you are ready to agree on anything. Yes, exactly. There are several ways to keep your emotions. Is it okay for you that we will stop this emotional aikido right now, rhetorical aikido, and touch actual question from public? Is it okay for you? Please respond. I need your response. Okay, thank you. So, several ways. You can choose way you prefer. No silver bullet. If it would be silver bullet, everybody would know it. So, first one. Take your fist, maybe left, not if you're right-handed, left hand, and press it as much as you can. Press it much, very strongly. Press your fist. Put it somewhere on your knee, or anywhere, and press it strong way. Actually, the main idea for your mind in this situation is to change your focus. You see, your mind starts to be egocentrical when you are tired. It's a great case when at the end of a long day of communication when you are ready to agree on anything. And so the main idea is to remove the focus of your mind, because you get tired. Your mind starts to take care about your body and itself. So your psychology becomes to be egocentrical. So people become so kind of capricious and so on. It's very typical in different ways. So just change your focus from yourself at anything else. There may be kind of pain in your fist. Another way, press your mouth, your teeth. Press your teeth in a very strong way. Just press the teeth to one another in a very strong way and relax your face. Approximately this way. That's all. So the main idea is to find any kind of place in your body to put attention to. For example, in Belarus, there is a special sign, this sign, that is a little bit not polite, but it shows something like I'm not totally yours. You couldn't receive that. So sometimes they just put the sign in a pocket. Like, it's internal, but I will keep the attention. It's also kind of meditation. Put this sign in your pocket. No one can see that. Another technique. So, teeth, fist, pocket, something in your pocket. And, okay, another technique. I suppose the most beautiful one, but not such effective, is just meditation that everything is okay and you are good and you are smiling. There are a lot of versions of such meditation, but the main idea, could you please, everybody of you, right now, sit in comfortable position, and you are absolutely welcome to close your eyes, because you wouldn't see any special and interesting right now, just my stupid face again. But so please close your eyes and imagine yourself the moment of your very pleasant journey to any kind of very beautiful place in the world. Maybe it was, I don't know, Norway or Cyprus or Indonesia or I don't know, maybe kind of Black Sea or any kind of another sea or Barcelona or any kind of beautiful, great journey. Maybe the moment when you felt yourself really good way, you felt comfortable, you felt successful, you felt, just remember that place. Remember the place, remember the moment, remember exactly your emotions. How did you feel like? Remember how did it look like? Remember people who were near you. Remember colors of anything around you. Remember smells, remember the sounds, please. Put yourself in that situation. Comfortable, good and pleasant situation. Please, feel that situation. Remember calm and success and positive mood. Let this positive mood stay in your body. Let this positive mood stay in your mind. And now, slowly and comfortably, open your eyes. Let me please know somewhere in a chat, was it successful? Did you catch this moment of comfortable feeling? At least maybe part of this moment of comfortable feeling. Great, thank you so much. One more technique, and if you don't mind, I would make this technique last one for today, because there are a lot of different meditations. It's meditation to, it's also meditation technique. So this technique creates, this technique focuses your mind on any special emotions. And when your mind tries to be focused on negative emotions, those techniques remove focus of your mind on positive. So last techniques, usually it's called, thank you very much for your feedback in the chat, it's I really need it. So maybe if you wouldn't answer additional questions, so it would be last one, technique of internal smile. You're welcome to close your eyes or keep it open if you wish, doesn't matter absolutely, but please imagine yourself that you are smiling, just simple, positive, rather comfortable smile. Very honest smile, please. You shouldn't pull your face to your ears. You just, please, just smile by your lips. And now imagine yourself that this smile is kind of small cloud of positive energy inside your body, inside your mind. Imagine yourself that smile goes into your body. Imagine yourself that this smile becomes bigger and bigger. This smile goes through all your body. Imagine yourself like your hands start to smiling. Start smiling. Imagine yourself that your eyes and ears and your head and all your body, all parts of your body start smiling. Imagine yourself that this smile that goes through your lips starts going through all your body. Imagine yourself, it's very strange, you don't need to visualize something special, just imagine like your hands start smiling. Imagine yourself like your feet start smiling. Imagine yourself like your belly starts smiling. In a case, for person who sometimes have kind of headache, for person who have any kind of uncomfortable feeling after the gym, a very good session in gym, imagine yourself that your muscles start smiling. Imagine yourself that your head starts smiling. Put the smile into every millimeter of your body, into every milligram of your body, of your weight, into every part of your mind, into every part of your emotions. Put just smile everywhere. And the main point, now please save this situation. Save this feeling. Remember that feeling of smiling body, of smiling mind, and come back to our reality. Just continue to work, keeping this feeling of smile inside you. That's all. That was a technique of internal smile. I would be really appreciate if you can tell something about your feeling right now. And the author of question, so Nadia, let me please know, is it okay for you or you have any kind of clarification for your question? Let me please know a little bit more. Yeah, all the techniques bring real, I'm talking about meditative techniques, they bring real success when you're smiling. Remember, very short techniques, one more, let me please add one more very short technique, that very stupid, very understandable, that would let you keep your emotions even during your communication process. The main idea, just do breathe in and breathe out. Please make short breathe in and rather long breathe out, but not make it longer than your body wants to, and do not make it shorter than your body wants to. Try to make it long but comfortable. Breathe in and breathe out. Just to make very short, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds delay, and try it again. Again the same technique. Just short breathe in and pretty long breathe out. Exhale. as additional development of the techniques, tell yourself, I'm good, I'm perfect, everything's okay, I can manage it, I really can manage it. Pay attention that you are absolutely true right now, you're absolutely honest because you can manage it. So just repeating that, you ensure yourself again, you recall that to yourself, and that works good. Okay, and that was all about returning back to a position, to your emotional situation, emotionally comfortable situation. I would recommend you guys to find these memories in your history, in your maybe background, when you felt yourself really good, really comfortable. And every time before stressful situation, when you get prepared to stressful situation, please go back to the situation when we were so good, in good mood, when you were calm and comfortable and successful. Keep the situation, enforce this meditation. Every time you go back to these memories, you turn your emotional mind into good, calm position. This meditation becomes more and more effective every time you practice it. Pay one more attention to one more feature. When you are really during vacations or holiday or in a good situation, you're welcome to catch that situation. Like, imagine yourself, in one month, you would go to, I don't know, beautiful forest place with beautiful forest house on the bank of lake, and it's so calm, so beautiful, something like that. When you arrive there, stop, sit, calm, and remember that situation. Like, make save. Like in video games, you can press a button to save the situation. So press that button to save the situation. Remember sounds, what you smell. Remember the view. Remember the temperature of water. Remember how do you feel this, I don't know, chair or bench under your back, under your ass. And remember all the nuances of the situation. And when you, next time, in a month, in a year, anywhere, when you feel stressed, just come back to the situation and remember that emotional feeling. And one more idea. If you get prepared to, yes, I would say from this position, when you are going to do a successful presentation, please recall in your mind the moment of great success. Maybe a moment when you was really successful in presentation your product. Maybe the moment when you had just defended your thesis, I don't know, master thesis, the doctor thesis, any kind, you felt great because you're successful, you're clever, and you can prove it. Recall yourself, your situation of your success, and before meeting with customer, before any kind of important meeting, come back to situation of success. Recall the situation, recall all the features, recall how do you feel your body when you're successful. Feel yourself with this feeling of success and go forward to next success. Yeah, in theory, that's almost all. Dear colleagues, if it's okay for you, I'm going to finalize our theoretical sessions. Could you please recall yesterday's session? You're welcome to roll our chat to the very beginning, very top of our chat, and see a short agenda for our Tuesday session and for our today's session. Could you please think, do you have any clarification or questions or something about it? You're welcome to write it, to type it in the chat, or you're welcome to unmute yourself and speak it up. I would be really happy to help if I can. If not, if it's okay for you, in approximately 30 seconds we can say goodbye and finish this meeting. Could you please let me know how can I help, what can I resolve, what can I answer right now? So, approximately 20 to 30 seconds to ask questions. And yeah, thank you for your gratitude, thank you for your feedback, thank you for your participation, for everybody who did it speaking, did it by chat. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, it was a great honor to work with you, and I'm looking forward to meet you in person. Maybe not in person, maybe sometimes on our practical meetings in small teams. I would be really appreciative for your practical cases. I would be really appreciative for your objecting, of your debating, of your arguing with me, because we can find, because I'm trying to make the session short as we can to save your time. Thank you very much. I would be appreciative if you can email your feedback to me personally. I would be appreciative for any kind of your personal cases you want to work with, because that's the meat, that's the flesh of our work. So our session is over. I'm really grateful for your time, for your efforts, for your participation, for your activity in the chat, and goodbye, all the best. Let's finish the session, and I'm stopping the recording.